All right, here we go. Y'all, twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman infidels. And back in the days when I was a teenager, before I had a podcast and before I had a pager, you could find Hamin listening to hip hop. RBV used to tell me it reminded him of bebop, infidels. And that's right, we're going to rock steady here on the Monday locker room, waiting for Dr. Ted to finish up some squats with the hotties and hit that Monday morning monologue. We're back, infidels, to kick off your post TLC locker room. Let's burn it down. YOLO.
It's funny you say that. You mentioned bebop and rock steady.
Yeah.
There's a lot of concern out there with, there's the vaccines that are going around that it's going to mutate us, where we possibly, the human existence just turns into where we are creatures like bebop and rock steady. Where are you at on all this vaccine shit?
Oh, man. Well, it's all a work. As you've seen, the nurses stabbing it through people's shirt sleeves. We've seen the people getting it and then they never do the plunger on it. We've had the 3 presidents, and we know that there's the retractable, like the trick knife thing from a magic shop, retractable shit. It's all theater of the absurd. And this is the first vaccine that's going to attach to your RNA and be an RNA inhibitor. Never in the history of medicine. And we're just going to rush this out there. Then there's Bell's palsy. There's 13 people dead supposedly from it already that they're trying to keep kayfabe on. And, and Pfizer's sitting there with 1 million units, more than 1 million, ready to ship. This is all by design from Big Pharma, from Gates Foundations, from all this stuff. And these people needed to be hunted to the ends of the earth. In China, they're having concerts with no masks on whatsoever in big arenas and stuff. And here we are playing this absurdity on lockdown in a prison planet, where we're arguing about a $600 check. Meanwhile, there was enough money in the coffers to give every family $20,000. Where did all that money go? Joel Osteen's getting $4 million. Joel Osteen, if he loves Jesus so much, I want to show him what it feels like to have his hands tacked to a piece of wood and hung out in the sun for 3 days to dry. That's what if Joel Osteen wants to get closer to Christ, there's no better way to do it than that. And to really teach these sycophants, these people who are on the inside who think they're untouchable and can get this money. Dude, that I take so much umbrage with that, with churches and mega churches like that, where people are scrapping for $600 and they're getting 4 million. To me, that's rape and pillage time, bro. That's burn that dude's house to the ground, leave him with nothing until he's living in a tent in the woods by himself, so he can see what it's like to truly be a saint after that, because they need everything taken away from them to the bottom. While, these little piddly payouts of $600 of hush money, when all of this is nothing more than a redraw the lines, redraw the power structure, redraw the power play to globalization. And we're going to do that by keeping the world under lock. And even a new mutant strain has hit UK. No, it hasn't. If anything, a biological weapon's been released, and we need to trace back who's behind it so we can then go and take them out as well, because these people need to be eliminated from the face of the earth. Make no mistake about it.
What did you make of, down in Australia now, they've declared themselves clear. They're actually they're just abandoning their whole, the vaccine operation right now because of the backfire, but the double negatives that were testing for HIV, and now coming out that this initially, just is where this came from. They were looking for a cure for HIV, and it kind of mutated.
Go back and look at the 80s. Fauci was involved in all of that as well. All these people who are investors in these labs through shell corporations or our top medical people were invested in the HIV. If you didn't live through it in the 80s and 90s, you don't have any idea of the fear level. Not to say you shouldn't fear AIDS, but the psychological programming. And where was that? Where did they want to do population control? In the gay and black fucking minorities. And they sure as shit did it. And these are the people who are Hitlerian in their ability to kill. And they do it with a marketing ploy and an engineered virus, whatever it is, common cold, to try and do that, only to, make themselves even more higher up on the stacks of money that they sit down upon and look and point at us and laugh. All you got to do is light that money on fire. And when they come crashing down, pull the trigger on them. And there's not a lot of them out there. There's only about 1,000 to 1,500 that are keeping this world destroyed right now. And why aren't we at Point Break to hunt them and put fear back into them?
Well, I mean, it's the fear tactics. It's the the scare tactics they're keeping the masses at bay instead of asking these questions. And one of the regular things I've been screaming at over on Hitting Marks is each individual. It's your political alignment should not decide if you're going to take this or accept this vaccine in any way like that. And that seems to be where we're at here. I mean, if you're on the left, you're expected to be mandated. You're pro-vaccine. If you're on the right, you're against it there. Each individual's got to look at these things for themselves and figure shit out. And once you begin to start pulling back those layers yourself, and if you have any sense of logic and thought, you can start deciding for yourself instead of being spoon-fed this garbage.
Yeah, and we're getting Mark of the Beast stuff. They need to have an app that downloads on their phone when they get it, so we can show when we go to the Buffalo Bills game that the security checker at the Buffalo Bills could never be fooled with a screenshot. And like you want all these little prison planet things, and then you're going to put it back in the hands of fucking Joe Fuckface to be the one as the gatekeeper, so he gets in the fight with the drunken NFL fucking fan, and then it's more them separated, and that's exactly what they want. Instead of putting this face on CNN with the fucking Billy Madison kill list and being like, we're coming for you. You had your chance to stop and you screwed it up. Now it's all over with. And it ain't going to be Gitmo. It's going to be me getting you where you sleep.
So where are you at here on this, that we've heard, as you mentioned, like you mentioned the Buffalo Bills going into a sporting event. We heard that Ticketmaster might get behind this thing. We heard certain employers where they don't allow their individuals to smoke if you want to remain employed. Where do you stand on this mandatory vaccine?
Well, I think smoking cigarettes is a little different than mandatory vaccine, but to me, that means the entire board of Ticketmaster needs to be wiped from the face of the earth. the entire NFL masters, they got to go because they're in on it. They're in on taking away the bread and circuses and taking a massive financial loss. Do you think those people just want to take a massive financial loss in the ass like that? No, they're promised power, or else their investors are the ones who are already in power and are using that as a weaponization, your want for bread and circuses and entertainment and to have normalcy in your life, to then make you abide by their new rules. And believe me, the top people of that are invested in the other, because there's no way they wouldn't be. Otherwise, they'd be screaming for the reality of, no, let's get back to business. They wouldn't put aside a multi-billion-dollar, $100 billion business, Ticketmaster, to do that. So they're going to use that as a weapon. Now, the fact that they're going to do that should set off everybody's antenna to say, you will not use what I want weaponized against me. And because you have, now you are on the kill list.
Absolutely. I mean, that was one of the first thoughts that I had when I seen this thing, that, mandatory for employment or, for entry into certain events, things like that, is all right. We know who's in power. We know who's getting paid off here.
They gotta go. They have to be eliminated, and they have to be eliminated in a very public and terrifying way. So whoever is going to step into that spot next never thinks about doing these types of things again. It has to be a shock and awe level scare event for the 1% masters, from the politicos to the Wall Streeters to the big pharma to the bread and circuses of baseball, NBA, that's also owned by China, by the way, completely. When LeBron James saying, don't fucking criticize them. Gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. And that's where I'm at with it. I have no love or mercy for any of them because they have none for us. So why would I repay them with the same gratitude, especially if I'm a Hitchens level atheist who doesn't believe in turn the other cheek? I believe in strike back, strike hard, strike right away when you can, and sweep their legs out from underneath them. So that's what you put Bill Gates in a room with me face to face for 5 minutes. He's going to be pissing his pants just thinking about what I'm going to do to him, bro.
Well, for anyone tuning in, kicking off your wrestling week with us, Monday Locker Room, if you thought last night was shocking, you thought Randy Orton went to the lowest depths possible. Wait till Ben Hamin gets his hands on the people that
If
control the world.
we took Bill Gates and doused him in gas and lit him on fire in front of everybody on CNN, I guarantee that shit would be done next week. I guarantee you'd fucking have a full Super Bowl house. I guarantee that fucking people will be back in baseball stadiums we filled more than they were before any of this shit went down as a revolutionary act of fuck you to the masters. Because that's what it takes is a shock and awe thing like that. It takes fucking showing up and having Brock Lesnar F5 Nancy Pelosi on the fucking floor of the fucking Senate 5 times on C-SPAN, and nobody's going to stop and do shit. That's what it takes to say never again will you do this kind of fucking shit.
Well, you mentioned football in there a couple of times, Ben. How about your Buffalo Bills? First time in a long time, clinching.
Well, good for them. I'm a Giants guy, unfortunately. But a lot. I mean, I've been to a bunch of Bills games, and a lot of my family and friends are Bills Mafia. So I'm happy for them. But I also lived through the 90s and watched them fuck it up 4 times in a row. So there's nothing I like better than watching, because Buffalo is a microcosm to itself of hardcore Polish and Italian fans who are drunk, belligerent motherfuckers who are big, scary dudes, and they act like they got the world conquered. And then when they get their legs kicked out from underneath them from talking a bunch of shit, that makes me laugh too. So I've seen the Bills choke 4 straight times, and I'm kind of hoping it happens again because I like Schadenfreude, which is a German word for taking, pride in other people's misery, I guess.
I don't know. That was probably like when I loved sports the most, was right there when the Bills were so hot. And it was heartbreaking each time to see that happen to them, that they couldn't get one done. They had some tremendous teams back then.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, they did. But I liked it because we came through the 90s of Mike Tyson, the Bulls dynasty. I mean, all these incredible things, McGuire, Sosa, but like that was like a part of that. They got so close, but they fucked it up 4 times in a row. And that kind of parallels what the yin and the yang of how big the hope in the dynasty is and how close you can get it there, and it can be taken away from you that quickly. So I like the drama. I mean, that created high, especially going into the 3rd and 4th one. When they lost the 3rd and 4th one, dude, people were so hot, and I was just like, this is great.
I was going to say, do you remember the feeling, the vibe, loss after loss? I mean, living there in that area. I mean, was there a certain point, like when you get to the 3rd one, or people still hold out hope, like we got to win one of these, right? Or was it just like, oh man, it was just waiting to lose again?
They were fucked, and Buffalo was fucked off of that for like 5 or 6. They just had their heads down, bro, like this. Because I went to school right out by there in Fredonia, but that was 96 to 2000. So I was living in the wake of it, and the team wasn't shit then. And, hockey was kind of, everyone just kind of switched over to the Sabres because they had their nuts stomped on so many times. So as a Giants fan, there was always a big disconnect of like, fuck the Bills, Giants. But now in 2020, it's even Giants fans, because we had to sit through 5 years of Eli after we won, of them not getting rid of the coach, not getting rid of Eli, this stupid fucking franchise mentality, instead of moneyballing it and switching things up, right? So we sat through it too. So in 2020, there's kind of like, there's not that fuck the Bills, because the Giants came back and won a Super Bowl afterwards. So Giants fans in New York were like, fuck Buffalo, yada, yada, yada. Now it's kind of chilled out where even Giants fans are Buffalo fans, and even Buffalo fans are Giants fans. There's not the heat that there was in the 90s.
Hell, they played for one of those Super Bowls.
Yeah, right. And Giants are dream crushers, whether it's the Patriots or the Cowboys. Like we might suck the rest of the time, but you can almost guarantee when somebody's on a hot streak, and if it's the Patriots or the Cowboys, the Giants are going to come in there and tap dance on their nuts. So I like that happens. Even when we have shitty seasons, we rob people of their high spots.
Yeah, it happened. Last night it didn't happen because here in Ohio, we're finally riding high on something. The Browns 10 wins.
They'll fuck up. They're going to up.
You know what? I fully expected them to stumble last night against the Giants. The bright lights, a Sunday night football. I thought the Giants were going to get their number, but the Browns went out. They looked good. They handled business. They got to that 10 win. I I'm glad for the Browns fans. Since I had lived up there in Northern Ohio for so many years, I developed that appreciation for their fan base. They're very passionate. They've been let down so much heartache. So that they're happy right now. But I still got to say, this is probably one of the worst 10-win teams that I've ever seen.
The whole NFC East is fucked. Like,
I love watching the NFC East. I'm loving that.
No, none of those teams are a championship playing level team.
Oh, no. Yeah, I keep saying it's not good football, but it's entertaining football.
It's real football.
Who's gonna just kind of limp to the finish line and
who wants a game with a guy who can just fucking laser it and beat you 34-4? That's not, 34-3. That's not gonna fucking be an interesting game. You know what I mean? So right. I'd rather see fuck ups and backyarder football and goofy shit and fucking heat on the ref and the coaches making the wrong like that. That's awesome. I don't have a problem with that. It's still football at the end of the day. Some people play it super clean and meticulous. Other people play it down and dirty. And sometimes it's just the year and the team that you have that dictates that. So heat on the Jets. I had 5 parlays that I should have won last night and Jets fucked them all. So
that's the heat on the Rams right there.
Well, I hope their plane crashes on the fucking way home, to be honest with you. And they all go down in flames. So
everybody's getting lit on fire here tonight. I mean, that's the theme of the show here today.
That's it, bro.
Lighting your asses on fire here.
It's not like the fuse. It's the Monday locker room. RBV got his hair plugs in, so he's got a kayfabe the new stitches in the top of his head, looking like Tommy Dreamer.
I was just outside before we started recording. I've been up and at it this morning. We already got a pot roast in the crock pot. Get some breakfast. I was outside. It's freezing. I don't deal well with the cold.
It's cold. I was roasting some pot myself this morning, getting things ready. And we're ready to get under the Christmas tree and see what Santa left us. We're going to stop, drop, and roll. Fire Marshal RBV and our son are here, Infidels. It's your Monday locker room. What's good, man, Beast?
It's good in the hood, my friends. This weekend, I just have to say, I don't know if you all know this. I was going to think of something ridiculous. So I'll tell the truth first, and then I'll do something ridiculous with the monologue. But this time of the year, a lot of people are getting their hips replaced, their knees replaced. They're trying to meet their deductible. They've met their deductible. They're trying to get their surgeries in. So I spent the entire weekend making old ladies, old men, some young men, even and even some young women. I made them do squats. Got to do those squats. You always talk about that. And so I was up until 4 a.m. writing this monologue and then trying to switch it around this morning. And it was all for you guys. So I just want you all to know that. And I even took the time for those that are watching on YouTube, wear my special outfit for Christmas week. Got my kitty cat. And this is a onesie, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Stevie's going to like that. I might have to get one of those for him, man, for sure.
They got a good price, $15 at Walmart.
Wow.
Can't beat it.
We might have to. But I appreciate you being up late. And I know
you all.
Ben's gonna burn the Walmart down. It's the evil corporation that's destroying the world. Ben's already on fire. He's already burned half the world's ass already this morning.
Dude, I've taken out the Jets. I've taken out fucking Fauci and Bill Gates by mass and murder. It's the way to kick off the Monday locker room. He's trying to set me in motion with the vaccines. You don't want the truth this early with the Broster's coffee.
I was going to ask what I missed, but it sounds like
that's about it, man. We haven't even gotten to the wrestling really of TLC last night with fucking Bray getting set on fire, and people just kind of, okay, that's what we're doing here. And the tribal chief,
I am the head of the table. The tribal chief
going over on Owens, and a couple other things I saw that were. Naya's fucking new gear. Japanese. And the return of Charlotte Flair.
Ding dong.
I mean, so everybody's back, and I turned off. I can't remember what I was watching. Oh, well, before that, I was on with Noel and Big Vito. So that just dropped over on their channel. So always awesome to be in the locker rooms with ECW legends and talent that I enjoyed the hell out of, man. So it was a good time being over there on Big Vito's Getting Color show last night. So changed up a little bit, man. Y'all, TLC, not really mixed reviews. Kind of like, what the fuck is going on and what are we watching on a week this Monday where all eyes are going to be on Monday Night Raw with a record low 1.4. There's rumors that USA Network is fucking livid, that they want darker adult content. Well, what the fuck does that even mean? And are we getting kind of to the point of Point Break where it's a vote of no confidence for Vince McMahon to be running these shows anymore? I really feel like we're there. There's a lot of buzz about, well, will it be Russo? Who's going to be the scapegoat? Well, I don't think it should be a scapegoat. It should be a real fix. And I've given the remedy plenty of times, but will we even be remotely close to get around that when I saw that with USA renewing WWE's contract in 2021, $421 million is what it is. And we did the breakdown. It goes to $29,000 per minute. If you break down 5 hours of wrestling, and that I didn't actually, it should be 6 with NXT, but let's just say
carry the one.
Yeah, Fox and USA, like that. No, I didn't put NXT. That 6 hours of wrestling.
Well, you got 3 for Raw, and then you got your 2 for NXT for USA programming.
Right, that's what it was. So 5 hours of the breakdown, $1.38 million per episode to $29,000 a minute is what you're getting on Monday Night Raw. Did you see anybody in that ring that was worth $29,000 a minute last night? Because I sure as fuck didn't. I didn't see one thing. I can't even imagine what $29,000 a minute, like what services can you offer that are 30 grand a minute?
I don't know. I might chalk that up for
maybe like a multi-million dollar business consultant with a track record, like a Gary V.
Maybe if that's a minute, I would say a half.
Oh, a minute. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, for maybe a half hour. You're right. Yeah, no one's worth that much.
Oh, but what is worth more is I added some new tiers to the patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. A new $30 tier. I see Double A Andre's in there, so I'm trying to entice him, but he's the one who suggested it. So Man Beast and I can keep the machine here at Hamin Media Group well lubricated and do more of your whiskey tasting and reviews, you guys. That was his request. So if you are a booze hound and you want to hear more about it, I added that. I also added a $25 Hameo level. So if you want me to cut promos on your mom, your preacher, your Fauci, Gates, I don't give a shit. $25 over on there. And then also a $399 tier where we are opening up the Hamin Media Group affiliates program to, if you're interested in podcasting, we're going to give you 3 months of affiliate status and help build your audience, which is the number one hardest thing to do in podcasting. So you're getting to tap in. It doesn't include server space after the 90 days. We'll put your show on Hamin Media Group stuff for 90 days. And after that, and it doesn't include hardware costs like microphones and things like that. So you can get as crazy as you want and spend $600 on a Rodecaster and a $200 mic setup and be off to the races, or you can get a $50 snowball and come in and it sounds great. Content is king. So if you're looking to get into the podcast game, how do I get my feet wet influencer wise? This is something we've come up with through the Patreon because we've had people asking. So that's the quickest way to become an affiliate. I'm not saying to buy your way in, but what you're really paying for is exposure, promotion, and group mentality of getting your show on the road and having producers tell you what sucks and what's going to be better, and not having to go through a year of pitfalls to become a professional podcaster. So plenty of new tiers over there, patreon.com/Hamin Media Group, as well as the Rip Rogers FR podcast. Great episodes with Ted the Man Beast, doing awesome work with Rip, man. We talked Blackpool, England, had Old Athers question, talked Japan on this episode. And those guys beating the shit out of each other, and more messages for Tony Khan as well.
And what we started really diving into territories on this next week's episode, not to to hype that. We're going to go from territory to territory and talk about what the locker room was like, what was it like in the ring, because every territory had its own style, and just kind of funny stories from the roads when he was on these different promotions in different regions and territories throughout the country. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to finding out things that I didn't know. And so doing that deep dive with Rips, it's going to be good. But I want to go back to that kind of affiliate program thing that you were talking about. Just let everyone know, because everyone thinks I'm a nice guy. I'm really heel at heart, because I told Ben that we should actually be charging at least $100 more for that, because for the cost of barely more than a sponsorship, we're basically setting up everything for someone that wants to get their name out there as, either a podcast host or whatever, and get them set up. Plus they get basically a sponsorship with it, because we're promoting them along the process. So, not to oversell it, but I mean, it's a really good deal. And I wanted to charge more for it, but I guess Ben Hamin is really a nice guy at heart. So, and I have to say too, I wanted to go back to the USA apparently being mad about, the ratings, which makes sense, but that they want more adult content. So I feel like with the retro is kind of the new thing. Like they're doing these throwback music for movie trailers and things like that. Like retro's cool again. So I feel like they need to bring back the Wendy's "Where's the Beef" slogan, but instead USA Network can have the "Where's the Tits" slogan. I think all of us can get behind it. It's going to unify the nation. Let's start it trending. Hashtag "Where's the Tits." Let's bring it back 2021.
I mean, they could have said that about Charlotte Flair last night, because she definitely got her gimmicks smallered from whatever the post WrestleMania fucking Wendy Whoppers job she had done.
Should have Jerry Lawler. He'll carry it. Where's the tits?
And I don't know if she had her jaw cut out or whatever, but her face is different. And I'm just thinking to myself, bro, you're Ric Flair's daughter. That's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Well, I think that's what it is. She kind of realized she went overboard having all that work done. Now she's got back to, I guess in a weird way to say this, through more medical enhancements. She got back to more of a natural look. I mean, I thought she looked tremendous last night compared to when she was there.
But it's scary of what these women are doing, and these women are on TV setting a standard of beauty and excellence for young girls who are influenced constantly, you know what I mean? And thinking that it's all right to do this. It's not all right to do this shit. I mean, if you have if it helps your confidence, I guess, but why do they keep doing it? Because it doesn't help their confidence. There is no surgical solution to a psychological problem. There really isn't. And whether it's them wanting her to jump through hoops to prove something, or then her being, now I'm beautiful because I'm natural, it's not going to stop, because she's already on surgery 5, 6, 7 elected surgery to do this kind of shit, because she doesn't like herself for some reason and has to keep doing this conventional beauty when she's got all the credibility and skill in the world. And I'll even go and stooge off Deeb. When Serena and a lot of other OVW girls were trying to get signed, they all, like, here comes the trend. Without saying it, we'd love you to get breast implants. Soze, Melody, Cherry Bomb, ODB.
Ronnie Jonah, I think.
Ronnie Jonah, yeah. And then Serena. And Serena got her nose done too, but she, like, her nose looks good now, and it does compared to the Arabic nose she had. It's a little more white girl next door. And but you would never see that unless you saw the old pictures of her. But then jumps through the hoops through WWE, gets on the road, and as a rib, now that you're the hot girl, we're going to shave your head just to fuck with you, right? After you do all these other surgeries. This is what they're doing. It really didn't have much to do with the stories like Man Beasts and Dewey's did. This was to test her. And I thought she looked good with the baldy, to be honest with you. She looked well, especially made the gimmick stand out more. Then she leaves wrestling, goes to LA to chill and go on her vision quest. And we had the big conversation to get these big, huge double D saline things out. And fucking she did. And dude, that was like handcuffs, mental handcuffs being released because she did all that because they make those girls jump through those hoops. And it wasn't until that time that she really started finding out about who she really was and about how going forward she needed to believe in herself and not these fake plastic fucking levels that magazines, rap videos, and WWE put on society for women. And now, even if she lives in Little Titty City, she's the she's the best wrestler in wrestling right now. I'm not man, woman, whatever, bro. So does it take some big gimmicks to make people go, damn, I'd like to smash that? Yeah, maybe. But also there's a fucking way more to say about talent and just going out there and doing things the right way to keep eyes on the product. She's just as hot as she was. It's not like you see her without big double D's and go, I would never. What a pig. You know?
Does this stem over from that in professional wrestling, that especially with WWE, that's a strong desire to be accepted in other forms of media, that they think you should go look like the reality stars or the pop 100%. Stars?
What are the Kardashians doing? They're on fucking Instagram and on People Magazine and making $200,000 to $700,000 on some of these appearances. WWE goes, we can do all that, and it's okay if we only make 30 to 75,000 because we're following the model that's already.
Well, you've even got the Kardashians. You know, they just announced that they're leaving the E Network, where they've been the staple. You know, they've been the ratings go to for them. They've signed an exclusive. It's with one of the streaming services. It could be Hulu. You think that the fucking where they're going to produce content just for the streaming services? Now they signed up.
Charlotte and them aren't trying to jump right in that spot, or fucking the Bella twins. The Bellas about that, and they're trying to get right in there.
The Bellas mirror what the Kardashians are doing.
They're just a watered down fucking version, and there's plenty. You could say the same thing about me being the Iron Sheik. you could, but
you always give me more of that Akbar vibe.
Well, yeah, I'm a little bit of everybody, you know what I mean? And Iron Sheik isn't what I am because I'm Bin Laden. I'm Bin Laden and fucking George Bush and Saddam all in one. You know what I mean? And I'm the evolution of what they are, where they're the watered down version, just playing that model. But there's a fuck ton of money to be in a hot, clueless broad with big gimmicks who's willing to sell out their husband, their kids, so they can have their own curtain line, perfume line, Martha Stewart. They're doing all these little, and that's all good PR people who are shady shitbag marketers telling them what to do. They're laughing all the way to the bank, but their integrity is pretty well compromised to be looked at upon as like, you're one of those people. Where the fuck is Heidi and whatever her douchebag, whatever fucking her boyfriend's name was from the Hills? Remember when all those cocksuckers were on every magazine? Dude, that's a whole I call that generation useless. That fucking Jersey Shore and Hills generation that were brought up on these complete and Teen Mom. If you grew up on those fucking three shows and like they hit you between age 10 to 16, you are the definition of generation useless.
There's a stable for you, Beast. D-Generation U. Now, as you mentioned, the hits with the reality and looking at the perception, that crossover. It's kind of funny when USA now is upset with WWE. They want a more darker, edgier sort of product from their pro wrestling. When you look at the other successful series that USA is backing, it's all reality-based television. They kind of go to those, dick and fart jokes, or that sophomore kind of humor in those situations. Those are their hit shows, and they're handing out reality shows like Netflix is handing out, whatever original you want to produce right now. I wonder if that's what they're looking for from professional wrestling. What do you see? What do you guys envision them for? How is WWE going to be able to right the ship to make the network happy?
I mean,
I know we've talked about going back to storylines, but I mean, bad TV is bad TV. I mean, how are they going to turn up the heat on themselves here?
I mean, in a sense, it almost like you have to gut it from the inside out. I feel like at this point, at least creatively, that's where you have to look outside the box of, whatever you've been working with. That's where I'd say, I hate to, necessarily put ourselves over, but, like Ben, myself, Stevie, Russo, people, well, that necessarily haven't been writing TV and or have fresh minds. I think on a creative team, you have to rotate people in and out, every so often just to get fresh ideas. I'd say if I was, a creative writer for a company, I'd say, maybe every 3 years or so, I'd want to maybe take a year off and do something else, and then maybe come back and be fresh again, just because everyone at some point creatively to be able to think weekly, these stories, after a while, you do kind of get burned out. So I think, it would behoove them to have a process and maybe streamline it to where, guys are able to fill in that role and then also fill in other roles within the company. And that's where cross training can be very valuable. And, it doesn't seem like they do a lot of that, prepare their talent and their wrestlers to also be creative and to also, be able to produce and or video edit and, things like that, to where you have the knowledge of wrestling, but then you also have the knowledge technically of how to apply those two worlds together and tell the stories on the product more. So it does go back to the storytelling aspect of it, but it's also empowering your talent to be able to understand more of how to put themselves and their stories over.
Yeah, he's spot on with that. You keep Paradise Jimmy, you keep Jeremy Borash. I asked them who's indispensable and is it, and don't sugarcoat it. Like who do I think of as the same as you two? And then I fire everybody else. I bring in Beast, Adam Revolver, Strangler Steve, Josh Jenneray, myself, Russo, and Stevie Richards. And we're off to the races, writing the entire landscape of WWE. Also, what I do, you end Monday Night Raw. There is no way to save it. It's a damaged and hoard out brand from, and now we're going to get, I know you're the GM. Yeah, we're going to give you what you want. And they tried to pass the heat. You have to end it. There is no way to rebrand, resalvage, redo this. It needs to end. Wow. Vince needs to be done with WWE, with the
I think that's a pretty bold statement. Come out to say, hey, you know what? Let's completely cut ties with what you've known here.
Yeah, people will be like, "Oh shit!"
I mean, that would shock everybody. To say, hey, you know what? We're done with Raw. We're moving completely different direction, cleaning the slate. Yeah, I think the biggest move I
would say you'd also hype. I'd say you'd hype that as well. I mean, I would say 1 month from now will be the very last Monday Night Raw. What? And then people are going to start paying attention to see what the build is, and then even on that Monday Night Raw, you deliver a last show, bring back people from back in the day, and then the following week,
yourselves, and you kind of walk that memory lane, and then
and then the following week, you start off fresh, and then people, I think that would get some heads turning and be like, holy shit, what the fuck are they going to do? And that's where you have to deliver. You can't come in with the same creative team and deliver the same bullshit, or you're going to wind up right where you began. Yep. So please, if you, I know they listen sometimes and steal ideas. This is one where, for the sake of wrestling, because truly, if they get over, if any wrestling gets over, it helps all of wrestling. It always does. And I really want them to succeed, despite how much we criticize on this show. But I have to say, if they actually take the initiative to do that, it will not only help wrestling, but it will help them jumpstart a new, I feel like a new, I guess, wave of wrestling back, potentially back into the mainstream.
Well, you ring in a new golden era, perhaps. I mean, because it's a trickle down. When WWE is rocking and rolling, the local indies, all the way down to the mom and pop indies that are hoping to bring in a couple hundred people. People are lined up, ready to go for that. For me, it's just like how we started today's show. Ben's talking about burning the world down. He's talking about the jets going down in a plane crash. It's that OMG effect that you want. Like, did he just say that? Now people are going to want to tune in to see what the hell else, how hot can we get Hamin during this week's episode? You don't have that in WWE. You don't see that often throughout professional wrestling. I would love tonight for the Hurt Business to go out there and open up that show and MVP deliver a message. America doesn't want you to see this. A group of black males on top with all the gold.
Yep.
We hold all the value in professional wrestling right now. That would get people riled up. That's what they used to do. Russo had the book. You go back to those golden ages, the Attitude Era. They invoked your emotion. You took your real life and bought into what was happening in the world of professional wrestling. Now they're just worried about going out there with their floor routine. We don't connect the characters. That's where they've lost their contact.
Yeah. And with that hard reset, they all got to go. Paul's got to go. Bruce got to go. Carano's got to go. Vince has got to go. So once you do that, now you're really taking the head off the snake, and you show that you can rebuild. The story is the building from the bottom and the ground up, because we already had it up here. And even though it came down here, we still claim that it's up here, and you have to try and keep that, but you can't. And every time you can't meet that bar, it embarrasses you. If you do a fresh restart and we do it here, now we're back down the bottom of the mountain and we're going to build all the way. There's no expectations down here. It's all new, right? So we can even show the rebuild of a company, rebuilding new brands to be invested in.
I love it. What do you think of this? Start cold the next week. I'm literally just getting my wheels turning. The first scene you see is actually put the Hurt Business on there and have the first thing MVP says, if you don't have the same color of skin as I do, then you need to shut up and listen to what I have to say right now. People are like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's strong, and it's right in line with what's going on in society. And that's an opportunity to deliver a strong message and integrate what's going on into today. You know what I mean? That's awesome.
If you look like the people running this company, sit down and shut up right now. If you look like me,
not just punny, but if you want dark and adult, put the dark guys on and let them fucking say some adult shit. You know what I mean? Like,
real. Have a real conversation. Yeah. And yeah, hit stiff too. You know,
you look at the main demographic for WWE, it's old white guys. You want to put them on their asses, flip them out of their chair, shock them with that.
Yeah. And you want to have young black men who are going, oh shit, and stepping it up at the same time. And don't have them be shucking and jiving. Have them bring out fucking New Day and have them bring out fucking Street Profits and go, you guys don't have to do none of this Bojangle shit anymore. And if you do it, we're going to fuck you up for real. Yeah. Not in the ring. I'm going to fuck you up for real because you're hurting our people with that shit. Like, send some real messages, bro.
But basically, it'd be this generation's almost like Four Horsemen. They could be, but even this might make people like disagree, but I'd say they have the opportunity to be even better than the Four Horsemen because they're basically right with the pulse of society right now. You know, and that's not something the Horsemen ever naturally did. They just, were great wrestlers that were, doing the, ultra professional wrestling gimmick, but they'd be doing that plus being right along with
got it all right there. Yeah. They had fucking the Proud Boys with the Forgotten Sons.
Yeah.
They had all that. Then they had Antifa with Retribution, and they couldn't fucking do a thing with it. Why? These old men are so out of touch that they all have to be called. They all have to go in, and it has to be a 30 to 50-year-old writing team who fucking gets it, who understands society's ilks and what is really going to pluck the strings of making controversy. Controversy creates cash. Somebody said that. It was a scapegoat. But fucking, we're not even getting close to that when we're doing, we are the locusts coming to raid the crops of WWE. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, the fact that nobody can fucking even go timeout. I'm not saying this. Nobody in the streets right now in Antifa talks like this. Do you even know what Antifa is? Do you know what their messages are? Well, no, I just heard about them on the news, pal. Yeah, well, no, you're old and out of touch. And the fact that nobody can do that, or no one has the balls to do that, or the fact that the agents just keep agenting matches that are absolutely brutal. And I know it goes against Pat Buck's training. I know it goes against Adam Pearce's matches in NWA. I know it goes against what Abyss fucking does and has done and other things. So how is it getting on TV? Because everybody is a yes man who doesn't want to rock the boat, step up and lose their job. Well, guess what? Because you didn't, that is why you're going to lose your job. Because you were complacent, because you were worked so hard to get to WWE, your 20 years of career, and now you're there and the product is shit, and you're going along to get along to keep that paycheck coming in, as Rip says. And I'll take a little umbrage with Rip on this. Where Rip goes, Vince's checks don't fucking bounce. Da 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 da. Yeah, well, that's fine. Do you want to have a check for a year and lose your job because everything is shit and you didn't speak up? Or do you want to have a check for 5 years because you fucking came in, stopped a negative process and showed them because you know what the right way to go was and started business that's going to up everything for 5 years? Because we get all these motherfuckers who had gigs, Zack Ryder, Rusev, the list goes on. And as soon as they get clipped, well, I wish I would have just spoke up for my business a little bit more. And well, now you fucking know. So are we going to learn from these after a decade, 2 decades of future endeavorment of the same story? Yeah, I liked my time there, but I wish I would have spoke up because I would have had a better run. Well, you didn't. And that's why we're fucked now. And that's why I speak up and say fucking inflammatory things, because I'm not going to be part of the problem. I'd rather not be working for them and say the real things that make me look like, Nero with the fiddle while Rome is burning. Because I said those exact words 18 months ago, and time vilifies Ben Hamin, Stevie Richards, and Russo brand every fucking time, because it's not that we're clairvoyant with Nostradamus level future shit. I see the road we're going down. I'd say what the end result of oblivion is. And I said it last year in June and to Fox and everybody else. And now here we are. Like, I'm not being like, give me the fucking Horowitz. I don't want to be right about these things, but I am right 95% of the fucking time. And I'm right with the solutions. And they won't implement them because their ego is just too much of a barrier. Too many yes men, too many sycophants sucking a fucking check who have the real knowledge. And that goes for AEW too. Fucking Jake Roberts, Arnett, Jim Ross, the only one to step up this week and really say it and say, fuck you fucking kids who you don't know shit about this business, and you got a contract and they can't even take that. Taz, Jerry Lynn, fucking name after name. And none of these young talents are humbling themselves to be like, please tell me the right way, or let me reenact Jerry Lynn versus RVD and why did that work so well and impart this knowledge. Instead, no, we're doing dives first match, fighting on the outside, eating up the whole show. And then you wonder why the rest of the show sucks shit through a straw because we did everything in the first fucking segment. Nobody is stopping this. So from Billy Gunn to fucking Jake Roberts, they're all mea culpa. They're all part of the fucking problem, bro, because they're not stopping it to protect. I love this business. I'm so tired of hearing that shit from fucking people, because if you love this business, you talk like I do and JR and Russo and the rest of Hamin Media Group to fucking protect and save this business from the indie retards who are taking stupid fucking New Japan and Ring of Honor stuff and bastardizing the art and making that the norm for the generation underneath them, because those kids are stupid and don't have a Dr. Tom, a Rip Rogers, a Gangrel, a fucking Sin Bodhi, a D-Lo to teach them the right way. They're just watching dumb motherfuckers on AEW do things exactly wrong way and thinking that's the way it needs to go because they're on TV. And even those people on AEW, you're a 350-pound fucking monster doing a tope con hilo, you're off TV. You don't get it. You shouldn't be at this level. I don't know what to tell you. You just don't get it. Or you do get it and you don't give a fuck. And that's even worse. You're out of here. You're not on my TV, bro. Not until you fucking understand that you, as a 350-pound guy with 3% body mass, goes over on people in 30 seconds. And find me fucking 10 innovative ways for you to go over on people in 30 seconds. Instead, you got to be a mark for yourself and take 19 bumps like you weigh 115 pounds. Sorry, I'm not sugarcoating it for these fucking kids anymore, bro.
Yeah. I think it comes down to the value proposition in regards to guys that aren't speaking up, and the value proposition being you're absolutely correct that it would behoove them to step up and say this is what needs to change. But when as soon as you say that, you're putting a target on yourself to take that risk of. They could also say, "Hey, shut the fuck up, you're fired." And not even listen to what you have to say. So I think it's also, you have to have the right approach when approaching, you know what I mean? Because you make very valid points, but if you come at a Tony Khan or Vince, they're probably going to dismiss you and tell you the fuck off. And not that you're not wrong, but you have to say it in a way that empowers them. Like, look, I want to help, and this is what has to be done in order for this company to change.
How's that work out for
better?
How's that working out for him the last 2 years?
What do you mean?
With people, let me give you what I think would work. Fuck that, rips it up. You know what? Fuck you, rip this up. You're fucking fired. Vote of no confidence. This is a publicly traded company, and you have taken it from 3.0 to 1.4. You've lost 26% in the last fucking year. You know what would happen to any publicly traded company CEO if they lost 26% of their fucking profits and audience? he gone. See ya, motherfucker. And that's how they need to be treated, because this backhanded ass kissing of, oh, he's the boss and he's the booker and oh, I don't want to. Nope. You suck as a booker. You've never been a booker. You've been a Mark fan your whole life, and you have no reason to have the fucking pen. You should be, if you were smart, giving the fucking pen to these 5 guys who've had it before, and you sit there and go, let me learn under the tree of these fucking geniuses who've been in this business for 40 years. Nope, can't do it. Got to get myself over in the scrum job. Same thing with fucking Vince. No one can go to a 74-year-old delusional man and go, it's time to put some fucking Pampers on and go fucking sip some tea on the porch, because what you're doing right now, and here's the numbers, and you know it, but people keep kissing that ass. No one fucking steps to him and goes, you fucking suck at this now. At one time you were great, but right now you're so out of touch, and you have killed this product. You have done it. The blame lies with you and you alone, and you need to take yourself out of the fucking equation. And if nobody's doing that, then everybody's mea culpa, and they all got to go.
I don't foresee a positive reaction from Vince if you were to tell him that.
Well,
it's been saying. I mean, that's precisely why we're here. I think a lot of it.
I'll sit back on the hill and watch you go to 1.0, and then you'll go to 900,000, and then I'll keep saying whatever the fuck I say on Russo Brand or on Hamin Media Group, and I will be proven right time and time again. Because it's not because I'm happy about being right. It's because they don't fucking listen. And you have to get to the point of talking to them like a 13-year-old with puberty, where it's like, focus right here. I know you're thinking about 70. Focus. You are doing the wrong thing. Like nobody is reining them in at all like that. And that's why we're at where we are. And the further they continue to have this wonderland of idiocracy that they live in, the ratings will keep going down until they go, fuck it, I guess I gotta listen to Ben Hamin. And they will. And I'll go from 300,000 to 400,000 to 700,000 to 800,000. And the longer they fucking prolong it until they finally go, I'll be at a fucking top premium price, and they will pay it, because I will not lower my standards.
A bit. I know Russo.
Uh-oh.
So quite a bit of that Shane had this approach with Vince. Is that part of the reason that he took that Shane had left for a while? He just said, hey, I threw his hands up. And
yeah, dude, Shane reaches out to Russo. Russo reaches out to Shane. Shane pops big. You're exactly what we need now. This is when ratings were fucking 2.7 to 3.0. You're exactly where they were sweating it then. Right? And then fucking Russo writes the whole email, sends it to Shane so Shane can punch it up. All Shane did was change one line in it, sends it back to Russo. Russo sends it to Vince. Vince sends it back, goes THX, period.
You know what? You know what would be great? And Russo should, of course, raise his price, but Russo should send a simple email back and say, would you like to revisit that last conversation? THX.
Yeah. No, you know what I mean? I'll stooge it. We're reaching out to Vince this week. We're reaching out to McMahon this week. There's no way. Like, when we said things and we tried to set it up for SmackDown and fucking talk to Jacob Allman and Fox and tried to fucking yeah, we understand those are the problems. We're hoping for some creative solutions. That was Jacob Allman marking out, knowing that he could probably get Paul Heyman and fucking Eric Bischoff. And he wasn't listening to the fact that we're telling you you're bringing in more snakes and you need to make these same hard decisions. And
it seems like it was a systematic issue too, because at least it seems from what I heard, even when Eric Bischoff came in, even if he wanted to have a creative direction, his hands were pretty much tied, and he was just a glorified advisor.
Being a sycophant. That's him being a leech off the fucking money, instead of going, I'm going to make my legacy and make this show better as my first priority. He was shutting his phone off at 6, 7 at night to not be contacted. You put me in that spot. I'm working. If I work 18 hours a day now, I'm working 20 there. You know what I mean? And constantly with everything going on. So that shows you that they're just there to clock in and clock out. And if that's the way, then he should never even have been offered the spot anyway. And it was just more to protect and insulate Vince to pass the heat onto them. And we told that to Allman, and then they didn't listen. And they went from, what were they at? A 3.1 when they started. Now they're at a 1.7. So you've almost lost 40% of your audience in that time. And we told you. And then we sat back on the hill and watched Rome burn. And time vilifies me and Russo and Stevie and the rest of us every single time, because I'm not saying this shit just to be inflammatory and do hot takes. I'm saying this shit because I wanted to save wrestling a year and a half ago. And they fucking dumb, deaf, and blind to it. And they fucking wouldn't do anything about it. And now here we are. Now they're going to have to make a tough decision, and they're going to hear they're going to have to hear the bad words from the bad bearded man, because it could have gone in there and maybe fine-tuned some things and helped get it on track. Now we got a fucking dumpster fire, bro. And there ain't nothing but ending the show and they took what was a property with equity, and now it's nothing but a ghetto and slum, and you're not going to get people to fucking move in. You have to re-gentrify the whole thing, put a new whole coat of paint on it, everything, bro, and move out the fucking dirtbags. That's what they do when they take over a block in any city. That's what's going to have to be done here too, man. And the dirtbags are their entire fucking creative team, their entire fucking developmental team, their entire fucking upper stooge core. They all got to go. And so does about 20% of your roster who's not ready for TV.
But
What? Oh, hey.
your story that Roman Reigns has been quite outspoken.
Yeah, how's that working out for him?
I would say, I mean, well, and then what's kind of funny here is I'm going through the headlines. We have a story here with AJ Styles, who, is one of those top guys, but AJ's kind of taking on more of that role where it seems, he's happy with the paycheck. He's one of those, just going with the flow sort of guys. AJ here is talking about a meeting that he had with Vince McMahon over the Twitch ban. And in the meeting, it included AJ, Sasha Banks, and Xavier Woods. And as AJ goes on to explain here in the interview, kind of as the meeting progressed there, by the time everything was worked out, it was determined that his face is intellectual property. And they'll go forward with the bans and the regulations here. AJ talks about how he doesn't necessarily like it, but hey, it's the company's stance. He's a team player. He'll roll with it. They're working on figuring out more solutions here. Will he like those answers, those solutions? Probably not. But again, he is a team player. He's here to help the product go ahead. He's here to work for Vince McMahon, and he'll go with whatever guidelines they set forth.
And it falls right into exactly all the things Ben was just saying. Just another example of, and I hate
from a guy that was in a marquee spot last night.
Yeah, and I hate to hear that because he's someone that's seen as a leader, I'm sure not just in the locker room, but really across wrestling. You see someone that's a journeyman and someone that's made a name for himself, and he's now a corporate, sellout in a sense. To me, as soon as you say that publicly, it's like, man, and to me that also kills, the people underneath you that, you can say, you know what, fuck you. And then guys else in the locker room say, you know what, if AJ Styles said that, I'm going to say it too. You know what I mean? That can actually instigate some real change. But when someone at the top says, yes, sir, I'll do that, sir, then everyone else has to, no, everyone else below him is going to end up falling in line too. And that's the sad part about it.
Let's not fucking forget about what the fact of this, and to go back to the ludicrousness of this. Why did all this shit happen?
Well, in what sense? I mean, because they were out making money outside of.
Because of Bang Energy.
Because AJ Styles' kid said he doesn't watch. The AJ asked his kid about a wrestler. He goes, I don't know. I don't watch Raw or whatever. That kid, a 10, 12-year-old, saying that line, got back through the stooge core of Carano and them to put heat on AJ. They say, we can't have anybody in our company. It's this kid talking bad about WWE. That's what brought down the thunder on making extra money. They're fragile fucking ego that a 10-year-old could bury the fucking thing because it's AJ's kid in a real moment that started the heat that fucked all of this. That shows how petty they are. And then they come up after everybody's banned. Now get the Undertaker on Cameo. And then fucking we're going to post a job offering of how can we work with third-party platforms to develop outside content, because that's their little tongue-in-cheek way of doing something, serving with them, because they didn't have it in plan. Because shocker, Bruce, Vince, Carano don't know about Cameo, Twitch bits, subscriptions, and things like that they have to find out about it third, fourth hand. And then we're going to make a fucking position to help deal with all these talents and to deal with Twitch and YouTube. With that, that's how we'll settle it. Well, guess who's on the front page of fucking Twitch every 2 weeks? Guess who deals with Twitch directly? Guess who manages YouTube channels for Impact and fucking Russo brand? Do they reach out? Do they get the best people for the job to help develop these fucking things on frontiers? They didn't know. Their ego isn't. It's all little mealy mouth, self-serving things to piss on a fire that will eventually grow to burn the whole fucking company to the ground and cut off streams of revenue where the cool kids are, where your video game players are, where your fucking New Day thrives, where G4 is going to thrive.
Giving them free publicity.
Free. The fact that they don't know that, vote of no confidence. You got to go. You lock them in a fucking broom closet. They get there at 11. You throw them in a broom closet and you lock the fucking door till 1 a.m. Then you let them back out, because that crew of guys have fucked wrestling and they're untouchables. They're brutally bad.
If you're hot, say you're hot.
I am, and I'm going to take them over them. Like, it's only a matter of time. The more time goes on with them doing what they do, the better the chance for me to come in and be the czar of it all at the end of the day. So keep doing what you're doing.
Well, Ben, I just worry about your blood pressure, man, and you know I'm glad you're calling it out, but you know I think it's probably a good time now to you know maybe take a breath.
Yeah, there's no better time than to laugh when you're hot, man, and let's laugh and get into some Christmas spirit.
Ben, it sounds like you need a little tender love and care, a little TLC. That's what you need.
Need a little THC, but but fucking it's the THC Monday Morning Christmas monologue. Yeah.
How about a little holiday cheer, and then we'll get back to the vitriol. But you know, it's always we celebrate the days of the year, and so for this particular day, you know, for many people, Christmas can be really stressful time of the year. There's a lot of pressures with shopping for gifts, and embracing the holiday spirit can be really a lot to ask for. So today is actually known in some circles as Humbug Day, and it encourages venting of all the stress before Christmas. So if anything, Ben is right along with the spirit here. And we're going to enjoy this season to the fullest. And let's face it, Christmas is a fucking work. All year long, many of us are working our asses off, often for some fat guy in a suit that takes all the credit, and then Christmas comes around and we do the same fucking thing with Santa Claus. You want a conspiracy? Look into Santa Gate. Now, I know all of you may be thinking, oh, great, this probably means we're going to get some cheesy Christmas jokes, doesn't it? But no, that is not true. These Christmas jokes are going to slay. Now, seriously, I have to say I'm not exactly a Santa Claus guy. I am more of a Grinch guy. And let me tell you, the Grinch, that dude, he listens to some good music. You know, I don't know if you know this. He listens to the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, but oddly enough, not the Who. But anyway, and don't get me started on advent calendars. Their days are numbered. All right, let's get to the wrestling. The newest edition of Being the Elite is available. It features the Dark Order continuing their recruiting of Hangman Page, with Silver getting the idea of the Dark Order doing a Cowboy Day to lure Hangman into the group, because there's nothing more evil than having a rootin' tootin' good time. Yeehaw. Natalia and her sister had a holiday pajama party, so apparently that was a thing that happened. In a post on Twitter, Edge explained to a fan why he doesn't use Cameo to send out messages to his supporters as he does on the social media service. After a post to a fan for their birthday, someone else asked, "Why aren't you on Cameo?" To which Edge replied, in part, "I don't need to charge people to take 2 minutes out of my day," as All Elite Scooby-Doo walked away with a single tear in his eye. According to Fightful, AJ Styles was not aware that Hornswoggle was going to spoof him, But apparently Styles reportedly seemed to think it was great once Hogswall debuted the character on Impact. But for me personally, I thought the segment came up a little short. You know, Mike Bennett, he returned to ROH last month, but announced on Twitter that he had suffered a hairline fracture in his ankle. But he did note that his expected recovery time is 6 weeks, but he claimed he will be back from injury even sooner to become this week's Dumbass of the Week. Congratulations, Mike Bennett. Idiot. As previously reported, Jim Ross recently voiced some criticism on his Grilling JR podcast regarding some of the in-ring styles in AEW. AEW's Brandon Cutler appeared to later make fun of those comments on Twitter. According to an update by WrestlingNews.co, some male wrestlers on the AEW roster anonymously, supposedly, responded to JR's comments and shared their thoughts, and they were not happy with the way Ross was burying their work. One wrestler allegedly commented, "I agree that sometimes things need to be slowed down, but that won't happen when the guy who is supposed to help put us over is going out there to publicly bury us." And to that I say, there's a distinct difference between burying someone and giving a perfectly valid criticism. If you emotionally cannot handle a veteran professional's honest critique of your work, then either figure out a way to grow a set of nuts and shut the fuck up and listen, or burn your fucking boots. The choice is yours.
Did I say that?
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like me.
I said that wasn't even really a joke.
No.
But hey, did you hear about the Christmas ornament that got high? It was hooked on trees, man.
Oh,
shit. In a recent interview on Vice, former WWE music composer Jim Johnston discussed the inspiration behind Vince McMahon's entrance music and creating The Undertaker's theme, saying he wanted to add more than aggression to the music, but also a little bit of sadness. And if you ask me, there was probably most definitely a bit of sexuality in there as well. And if you don't believe me, the proof is in the pudding. The first thing we hear in his song is his dong. I had to get it. Alexa Bliss, she hasn't been on WWE television as of late. I don't know if you all have noticed, guys. And she explained why, though, with a new social media comment. A fan asked Bliss on Instagram, why haven't we seen her on TV in the midst of The Fiend's feud with Randy Orton? And she stated that she's on vacation, and that was planned months in advance, because apparently even possessed souls have to take a vacation sometimes. Have to. Gets hard. It's hard on the body being possessed all the time. Metro UK recently interviewed WWE superstar Jeff Hardy, who discussed working with Elias and more. I wrote a song called Vaccine, man. It's going to be our album, hopefully coming out in 2021. I said, Jeff, are you sure that you want to call the song that? And he said, yeah, man, I'm not just sure. I'm COVID-19 positive.
Oh.
Yes, right. I brought it back around. Randy Orton not only beat The Fiend last night, we talked about it a little bit, but he looks to have basically murdered The Fiend after their Firefly Inferno match by setting his entire body on fire, apparently to win Mortal Kombat. Fatality. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, or gentlemen, I guess, the New York Post recently spoke to Lana before last week's episode of Raw and discussed her recent or her current WWE storyline, with Lana saying, I've never done a story in WWE that's almost verbatim my life story, and that she really identifies with it. Choice words from someone who on television spent 9 weeks getting her backside plowed by wood. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. This has been your Monday Morning Monologue.
Yeah, that's the word, turds. Merry Christmas to you, Beast. Thanks for bringing me back down there. And I was thinking maybe all they really need is to be locked in a room and with Rob Van Dam and me and get hotboxed. Maybe that would actually fix Raw. Maybe that's the biggest thing.
Probably so. Yeah, Vince just needs to get baked, and that's it.
Big time. Maybe that's what we'll do this week on Master Shoot Theater to ease the tension with
that's good.
USA Network breathing down his neck.
Let me try that weed shot.
I will say there was a bit of a fun story out there this week that I had, if we were going to get to it in her notes, but you bring it up here. But JR this past week on his podcast was, reminiscing about some of the fond memories that he had with Pat Patterson. And I guess early on when JR had joined WWE, Vince really wasn't sure what to do with him. As we all heard the stories, he didn't like the drawl and all that, and didn't know if it'd catch on with his audience. So Jim Ross said he spent quite a lot of time with Patterson and his significant other, what was his name, Louis, I believe.
Yeah.
And they like to, they like to puff, puff, give. So JR token it up with Patterson and his crew back in the day. I thought it was a
lot of those old
pretty,
guys.
pretty funny story. But also in there, JR was talking about how he loved Patterson. He was one of the most influential people outside of Watts in his professional wrestling career. But he could have done without the ribbing at times. Either coming back to Gorilla and finding that his stuff was handcuffed to a ceiling or something like that. So I did want to ask you guys, and you guys in your travels, who were some of the kings of rib, and what were some of the better pranks that you've seen executed?
Honestly, I would say it's really more the rib is in the psychological fuckery of what a veteran can get a young boy to do. I once in a locker room, and I'm sure he would attest to this. With one BJ who's been on this show, they managed to get him to staple his nutsack in front of the entire locker room, legitimately.
Staple to what? Or just staple it?
Really staple his nuts. Yeah. Period. Yeah,
it wasn't like to a chair or a bench or anything.
I witnessed personally, and so did the locker room of wrestlers at OVW, men and women. I'll watch this happen. Yeah, and not to mention all the times they get the young boys drunk and do stupid shit like that. And I remember, this is terrible, but I remember
you don't remember, but I have the DVD if you need to remember.
Yeah, it's like, but we would do more. I feel like things that wouldn't necessarily damage property, but like I remember once, like we had a couple guys get drunk and we had a sand volleyball court nearby at the apartment complex where some of the guys lived. So we drew a circle and made them took their shirts off and do fucking sumo wrestling drunk, shit like that, get them going. But, I'd say, the best ribs are, the more of the fun stuff like that, not necessarily the malicious ones that, either run someone's property or fucks with their, pay or their livelihood or their family or anything like that. I think when they're in good fun like that, we like getting the young boys to compete against one another. And that creates some like camaraderie in the locker room, and it helps build rapport between the young and the old and helps bring people together. I think when it's done in a way like that, that's more like just for the, fun of it. Like you might make an ass out of yourself, but everyone's good at the end of the day. Those are the ones that I feel like I remember.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones, and I forget them until you start talking about them.
Were you there for the BJ one?
Yeah, I was there for that. And fucking, Joey Mercury was good at like creating wrestling culture where it's for the boys, but could probably get you arrested. You know what I mean? Like, but the boys are dirtbags and we're carnies and we're in on it. So whether it was taking a young boy like Ben Bray and like letting him know that he was down with us. So Susio and Kamikaze Kid would have awesome parties. We all lived in the same apartment complex, but they had the bigger apartments, name it. So fucking Mercury would make Benny dress up in a bow tie and thong, and sometimes no thong at all, and walk around and serve people drinks, like, and not put it over whatsoever.
Casual, like, hey, would you like a drink? Would you like a cocktail?
Yeah. Like Benny shows up to the party like everybody else, and Mercury's like, come here. Takes him in the fucking back room. Bow tie and one of fucking, I think one of the Blossom Twins songs.
Forgot about that.
He's walking around with a tray of shots, like, would you like a hello, Mr. Hamin? And you look over and Mercury's just in the corner fucking watching him, like, and then to come over and like you turn around and Benny's in a fucking thong and bow tie. Or things like the Fearless Jack Bill Malibu Invitational Challenge, drinking challenge. There's been a couple of those and they end nasty, but like that's where the boys become.
I retired after the first one. Next time I said I would be a manager only. I could not compete.
But that was one of the first things where we had that I'd ever seen it.
I still can't drink Malibu rum.
You had talent from ECW, OVW, Impact, WWE, and I don't know if ROH was there at the time, but like all in a. I
mean if you consider Joey, had worked for ROH.
Before, So all at the same time as the crowd, while Twinkle Toad Man Beast did a drinking challenge against, and then there was other ones with John.
In my college joint house garage that we had, it was completely ridiculous,
dude. So it's times like that and it's on DVD, and I'll give you guys
that's why I can never run for political office.
For $10,000, I can fucking you guys a copy of the Fearless Jack Boom album invitation with.
Why do you think I do all this free work for Ben Hamin?
That's part of that new $5.99 Patreon level that Beast was talking about.
Yeah, man. So it's things like that build camaraderie. I usually don't like mean ribs, like locking somebody's shit to whatever. If they're a douchebag, like we had one guy who talked shit about Timmy Baltimore. And like Timmy Baltimore, with his disability and incredible talent combined, is loved by everyone and is a locker room leader. And then this kid came in who was a rookie.
He called him, I think he straight up called him a gimp. Or it's crippled, something about his crippled ass or something like that. And I was like, holy shit.
It wasn't in a promo.
It was like either a voice message or a text or something like that. And because I remember I was in the room when he got it, and he appropriately
they were ribbing the kid like would. And this is why
it was harmless fun ribs, and then he took it way too seriously and fired back stupidly.
And he was fucked after that. I pissed on his bag, I think, one night. A couple of us did, and then people just hawk his shit out into the parking lot. Like, get the fuck out of here.
After he was a prick, like it's like Undertaker ties your shoes together, and so you say, well, you're a fucking asshole, and fuck you, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, well, now this is gonna happen.
If you think going after the announcer who's made of 40% fucking titanium because he's had mad surgeries is the right move, if you think that's gonna get you over, you shouldn't be in this business. You're not equipped to handle playing with the fucking big boys, bro. And you can't no sell and put your game face on. You come back and have a visceral reaction to go after the handicap dude. You're fucked. Your career's fucked. You're never going to be over. So it's open season after that. What goes from little testing ribs goes to mean, get the fuck out of my business ribs. And locking people's stuff to a chair is kind of a mean, get the fuck out of my business. It's a little bit of a laugh. Maybe at WWE it's not, and they do things that are way worse. But that's just part of what goes on, man, at the same time. But here's the thing. If you did that to me, I'm going to fucking do the mob shit. I'm going to take it with a smile, and now you're going to get it twice as fucking bad from me.
That was a good rib.
Yeah. When you guys were younger, you're breaking in. I mean, you're on the receiving end of that. I mean, that's how you just got to roll with the punches, right?
The test.
Well, it's usually the chops, but
Yeah. Man, there ain't no rolling with that. You just take them. So yeah, good stuff, man.
Von Lila stooged off to me, by the way, that literally, like, he has issues with his hand now. His hand is fucked because of how hard he would hit people when he chopped him over the ear.
Von Lila,
I believe it.
Von Lilas was drunk as fuck one night when we were out partying at 4th Street Live. Came back to my apartment with twinkle toes, sleeping on the couch. Lilas hits the floor. Get up the next day. Lilas had gotten up in the middle of the night and pissed in the top of my fucking stove and oven. Had to have the fucking oven replaced out there. Like, took a fucking huge Von Lilas. He's 6'6", so he can piss right in it like it's a urinal. Thought it was funny. And the next day we woke up and like, why is this all fucking wet? Von Lilas pissed all over it. So that was one of my intro ribs. And I still hammer him on it about it. He's like, you don't know it was me. Who the fuck else was it? Twink lived there and he wouldn't piss in the fucking stove. And, so he got caught and I used that as ammo against him 13 years later, but it still doesn't mean I didn't get my stove pissed in. That's ribs, bro.
There was, I won't say his name because he is, under a deal right now, but this was a funny story. I always remember him telling. There was a tryout camp for WWE and said party was trying to get a job, and they were apparently in like a collective place where they were staying, like a bunch of guys were staying in the same, I guess, Airbnb or whatever. And one of the guys ribbed him one night by recording him like putting his balls on his mouth or something like that. Like it was like that's like, okay, that's fucking gross, whatever. So the next night, the night before they were all leaving, so he knew he couldn't funk with them back, he had taken a video of him taking the guy's toothbrush and brushing up his asshole and then showed it to him after he brushed his teeth the next day in front of everybody. That was a good rib.
That's one shitty rib.
Yeah. But you got to be careful how far you take it because you're going to get it back.
Yeah.
Unless you're part of a crew where you can fucking take Jesse Mercer's fucking piss soaked bag and whip it out in the fucking parking lot because he fucked himself. But if you do what you think are harmless teabag ribs, you're gonna get it back, bro. So that's why I don't really promote.
And the thing is, I'll say real quick, this was in where everyone was the same on the pecking order. They're all, not even rookies. They're all trying to get in, from the ground up, and so they're all on the same page. And someone tried to show dominance by doing the rib on in front of the boys, be like, haha, I know what wrestling is. I'm ribbed. So my buddy said, okay, you want a fucking rib. So that's why he waited to the last night, knowing, again, the rib couldn't come back around on him. And then they got over with everybody because he did it in front of everyone. And so it was like, that was the perfect thing to do. I mean, it's a stupid situation to begin with, but that was the way to handle it. It's like, okay, you want to try to make me look like a fool? Well, then you almost have to step up and show everyone, I'm not a fucking fool. Don't fuck with me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can take things even if they're juvenile, like the Ben Bray thing that got him over instantly. And there's things that are ribs that end up on TV. You tell me Big Dick Johnson wasn't the exact same rib?
Well, yeah, with Benny, because he was a Prince of Poon. Yeah, yeah.
So like that, like things like whether it's OVW anywhere. Things that start as a rib can actually help get somebody over if they play into it and go, fuck you, you're not ribbing me. I can get the most out of this. You never, and then the boys are popping for it in the back now because it started out as a test. Like, how's he going to respond and react? Well, they fucking go all in on it. Ribs on you. Well, ribs on you. I'll put it on TV. Oh, fuck, put it on TV. I'll get it over there too. He's getting over with it. Fuck, like, there's good and bad with it.
I will say also, I just have to say real quick that the Prince of Poon was such a good gimmick that I wish more people could have seen. It was so funny. Like, it was like, he just, he was a fine looking guy, but he wasn't like, chiseled and, like the classic definition of, what would someone say, attractive. Like, he was just kind of like a young looking guy that happened to have, a taller build and looked like a semi-athletic, but the girls would always find a way to corner him. And like, they would like sneak out of a room and it was like, they had sex with them. And like, he always was just like innocent, like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like, he was almost like the Pete Davidson Saturday Night Live character where like, they all fell in love with him and he's just helpless. Like, I don't know, and they, even, Brittany, my wife, she even did a scene where she came out of the bathroom. I was like, what the hell happened?
So it endears the boys at the same time, but there's also, make no mistake about it, almost every early rib is a test to see how you're going to react, especially if you've been having a fucking tough day. Like, that would be the ultimate. If they knew I was hot about WWE and whatnot, and I showed up at OVW, Man, Beast, and Power would have something set up to fucking trigger me to see if I'm going to go in on it. And I'm either going to go in and sell for it, or I'm going to catch it at like, nice try. You guys aren't fucking getting me today. You know what I mean? Like, there's different ways to do it, just to diffuse or take the situation to DEF CON, whatever. You know what I mean? It can go either way. And you're hopeful with that because that's what the rib is set up to do, to get a response,
Awesome conversation there, gentlemen. Well, let's get here to the main event, the marquee of the show, I guess. Let's talk a little TLC. Did you guys catch the pre-show at all?
No, I was on with Vito.
We had a big 8-man, just to make mention here for everyone, an 8-man involving SmackDown stars Big E, Daniel Bryan, Chad Gable, and Otis. They go over on King Corbin, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura in 8:35. Then we turn our attention to the main show.
They got a minute each for each person, 8 minutes and 35 seconds. So that was good.
Big story there was just kind of developing. They've gone ahead and announced that Big E will be challenging for the Intercontinental Championship coming this Friday on SmackDown. So it's a little bit of a Christmas teaser there for that episode. Real quick, I think they didn't really do good business having Sammy get pinned here. He was playing the coward the whole time, hiding. Then he tried to come in and pick the bones. It turned on him. He should have just ran, took off, and just lived for another day. It just would have played to him a little bit better. We get to the main show. We're kicking the action off here. You got to start with a gimmick match, right? You got to throw everything out on the table. So we're getting our first.
You do
tables, ladders, and it's WWE philosophy. It's how they do it. We got our first TLC match of the night. This begins with Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles as the challenger. Throughout this match, we have Miz cashing in. He joins in and makes this thing a triple threat. Beast, I'll start with you here. Your impressions here of this match that goes just a little over 27 minutes.
People probably aren't going to like what I have to say because I've read a bunch of people were upset that Miz quote unquote wasted the briefcase thing, but everyone can't win everywhere. I liked it as a false for the match because it made people believe, holy shit, Miz might steal this one out of nowhere, and then they took it away. So you basically, from a psychological standpoint, made the fans believe that what they wanted to see, supposedly Drew McIntyre as champions, what they're selling, was going to be taken away by the Miz. So they teased the threat of that being taken away, only for Drew to overcome it as a babyface in the last big match of the year and win to start the show. So I ended up liking it. I thought it was a good little piece of drama. Drew overcame, looked stronger as a champion, and now he can continue on as a dominant champion until the next threat comes along, whoever that may be.
See, the only thing here, they made the Miz, who's supposed to be, this mastermind. He's the king of the chess game here. He looked like a complete idiot. They completely forget what he's cashing in about the 8 foot, black as midnight guy standing there. That's going to be the equalizer for AJ Styles. And then later on, when you have AJ and McIntyre battle it out on the ladder, why not push that over before setting your own ladder up to climb up there? I mean, Miz just looked ridiculous inside this booking. Ben.
Should have had AJ stand on Big Ninja's shoulders and get the belt that way.
That would have been good.
Or at least, we have a spot there where he's getting there, and then you have Drew come in with a big kick to the big man.
You do the cheerleader thing, get him up on there, and he starts and then do the push up so he's there.
That's a risky bump, though. That's a real risky bump.
AJ grabs it.
Okay. Yes.
And then fucking you take out.
Yes.
I don't even want to take out Big Ninja, but you know what I mean? So AJ's there and Big Ninja has to go fuck off while AJ's just swinging on the fucking thing and Big Ninja's handling his business over that way. So I wanted to see a little cheerleader spot there with that. I think if you got a ladder and you got a guy as big as a ladder, use the big guy as the ladder.
I think you just missed an incredible visual right there. I mean, that could have been all over your promo package.
Even and
if we were smoking weed the day before in the office, all that would have been in there.
And to punch it up even more, to build the anticipation and the threat of that happening, you start in the corner or have AJ climb to the corner and step up on his shoulders. Big dude grabs his feet and he slowly walks towards the center of the ring, and you see him get closer and closer and closer, and then that's when he fucking grabs it. And you know what I mean? So that way everybody can see, oh shit, this going to work? And then boom, you do the spot. Brilliant.
Yeah, and you don't take out Big Ninja. Once he gets his hands on it, that's when somebody's got to face off. So Big Ninja's got to square up and move out from underneath AJ. And AJ's just sitting there dangling, you know what I mean? Hanging on the fucking thing. But we don't think about what we have to use. We just think about get that fucking shit in. That means nothing, boys. Instead of here's the moment in the match when AJ is on top of Big Ninja's shoulders and then he's hanging. That would have been the fucking high spot. The bump with Miz through the table landed like a sack of shit. I don't know why Miz is made into this buffoon goof character when he should be a reality show Ryan Seacrest like type guy. Now
I will say, to your point, RBV, he did, as far as performing that spot, went so slow that it made him come across as foolish. I think if he would have been more, it had more urgency in getting the fuck up the ladder, and then the spot looked like it, he barely, didn't get it. But yeah, it made him like, you're like, I'm taking my time one at a time. That was too much. And I understand, you want to, sell what's going on, but that wasn't the time to stop and say, everyone look at and see this. That was the time to say, I'm getting the fuck up that ladder and getting it tight on getting the fuck out. And then he just gets bamboozled before
What do you think if they showed Big Ninja's strength and they doctored or non-doctored ladders? Big Ninja just started breaking every ladder, smashing them and in half. So there were no
the chair spot.
The only way that anyone could win is to climb up so AJ's got Big Ninja to get him up there, but there's no ladders, no other way that people can fucking to use the ladders right away. That'd be their strategy. I don't know. Just thinking of different things that we could have done to work this match a different way.
What about the chair spot there where Morrison bends the chair over the back of Omos and completely is impervious to the pain, and the chair's bent in half?
I don't like it because you need a weapon to fucking hurt a giant. That's the difference between a man has to go get that.
Either that or everything, or eventually we find some sort of Achilles heel where everything seems to, he's impervious, and then we found the one thing, the chink in his arm, or whether it's be his foot, his knee. Yeah, it's ticklish. I like that even better.
Tickle that big son of a bitch.
That's our new TLC. Tickles, licorice, and candy canes. That's how you take down the big man there.
But that's all. That's it. Like, they're not getting max value out of that guy, and he really shouldn't have done any violence on anybody, to be honest with you.
We're gonna make everybody ticklish and have a Gucci Goo gauntlet match.
So Ben, were you okay though with the general finish? McIntyre looking strong, overcoming these odds, continuing on as champ.
Yeah, sure. Great. He gets to come out with Vince's sword and come out as Braveheart. Dude, terrible. Absolutely brutal. Like the choice they've made in the last 2 months. They had him wearing Gucci shirts. They had him looking like a star. And now we're back to Unite the Clans. That's right. William Wallace is back, and he's going to take over William the Bruce or whatever the fuck. It's just
your face looks like a bowl of haggis.
Yeah. It's just bad.
Well, you saw he beat up 2020, though, so that was good.
Well, yeah, finally somebody beat. What's he going to do with Black Roman Reigns?
How horrible that promo gimmick was.
It was actually some of the best work that Braun's done.
That was 2020. I thought that was Nia in there. I wasn't sure.
Okay, so at the end there, at the 27 mark, we have Drew McIntyre going over. We move on here. We're switching gears. Another championship match. Sasha Banks defeats Carmella in just over 12 minutes, 12-10. Again, a singles match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Carmella pretty dominant in this thing. Kind of had her way with the boss. Couple close calls there. Looked like she might have been able to put this thing away, but Sasha's able to. The boss fights back and retains. Not a whole lot of significance to talk about inside the spot-wise, especially when you're coming off something following up the TLC. Beast, overall thoughts on the SmackDown Women's Championship?
I'm actually going to take your question and turn it back into a question to both you all, and that was because I was thinking from a writing standpoint, should they have put Carmella over here? And the reasoning I was thinking was they're establishing this new gimmick. This is a chance to make someone as a heel, and then you didn't have the chase for the title, which usually there's more money in the chase. But then to play devil's advocate, I was also thinking too, or is that too soon to pull that trigger? But I also countered that back. I was playing psychological warfare in my own head of saying, but the fact that we're still establishing Carmella and she hasn't necessarily established herself as a threat yet, and to win the title right away after turning into this new character almost establishes her as that threat, and then she can build from there. That was a long-winded question.
The back and forth is that it should have been heels up. Sasha's already over with Star Wars. Doesn't need belt. She's made. Carmella needs it. Plus, we got fucking her butler at ringside with the bottle shit, and we're not going to do anything but he almost botched his spot on the dive catch. He's like, fuck that. That indie worker's like, I'm not getting heat for this. He muscled her back up again. But definitely should have been Carmella up here with some type of heels up.
It shouldn't have been something like a cool move or anything. It should have been some kind of underhanded, do the fucking ropes tights, some kind of cheat, and fuck her over.
Maybe she mood a spot with champagne now. Who knows? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, like that.
Well, I think you can kind of sell that into the holiday season. You're ringing in this new era. You got the champagne, the celebrations, all the glitz and the glamour that go with Carmella. I guess my only maybe counterpoint on that piece would be, and Jargo mentioned this yesterday on Facebook in a live discussion that we have over Hamin Media discussion group. Are there two more unlikable individuals on the SmackDown roster than Sasha and Carmella? When we're talking about the chase, don't you need that endearing baby? Sasha doesn't play that role. She's out there. I'm the baddest bitch. She's trying to be that hard ass. And
that's the thing. It doesn't have to be Sasha though. It could be a different baby face. But you said,
plug somebody else in.
Exactly. You said Carmella's the heel, and Sasha can do her own thing because she's already established and doesn't necessarily need the belt. So yeah, I would say you would not make Sasha be the one to chase because she's already over in a different sense and can be her own brand to be strong and put over a different heel. So you would plan for a different baby face that eventually in a few months when it's tell a story arc of them overcoming the odds to finally beat Carmella for the championship.
And I would say they would need a few months because, if they pivot off of Sasha, they don't have a whole lot of depth inside that division. There's really no one to slide into that picture.
They got to build a baby face. Why they haven't done anything with
actually,
Belair on the chase would be money.
So, oddly enough, you know who I would pick would be Nikki Cross, because she's such a contrast from Carmella and such the opposite. And you could play that up easily of being, you know, the gorgeous, pretty one versus the, you know, the ugly one, ugly duckling or whatever. Even though I don't really think she's ugly at all, but you know what I mean. But they have such a difference in appearance of someone looks like someone off a magazine and someone looks, you know, someone like they might be, you know, someone down the street from you.
Right.
You know?
What's her name? The soldier chick.
Lacey
Evans is the baby face they need to make to be.
She'd be a good choice for sure.
Right?
Nikki and her can carry Carmella, because Carmella's pretty rotten still. And I don't know what it is. Like, to me last night, the gear looked good, body sexy, but she looks like Ronald McDonald without the white face paint on. Like that shit, bro. Like, I was like, what am I looking at here, bro? And, yeah, these girls have fucked their faces up beyond repair.
There's one more point I didn't get to say earlier when we talked about that, and it was really just saying the same thing in a sense, but it makes me sad in a sense, because it's sad from both ends. It's sad that these women feel like they have to enhance themselves in such ways to meet a certain standard, and it's also even sadder because they are role models for little girls. Like, I feel like if I had a daughter right now, like, I would really have to question if I want my daughter to watch wrestling and look up to these women and want to be like them, because I wouldn't want my daughter to feel like she has to change her fucking face and get a bunch of surgeries just to look acceptable for society standards. To me, that's just ridiculous. And so, yeah, I just think it's a horrible situation all around. That was my 2 cents on that.
No, you're 100% right on that. In fact, I wouldn't turn it off from them. I would tell my daughter, these are the women you never want to be.
But more reason why someone like a Nikki Cross would be good to see her being the baby face and seeing like she's the one that really, because of, you know, how she is, you know, not to be corny, but like how she is on the inside, she is hard, she is passion, she just does what the fuck she feels is right to her. You know what I mean? It doesn't worry about anyone else what the fuck tells her how to look like. You know what I mean? I think that's a good message to send out, and it's a good story that anyone can relate to. I mean, I think it can easily be told. Again, they can also fuck it up easily, as they've shown before. But if done correctly, it can be a simple story. People can get behind and get everybody over. That's good. Everybody elevates.
Or you play a real show before and after pictures of the girl she's talking shit about, and really make it real of, your mind's messed up. I'm a great wrestler. I don't need to go and get me boobs done. You know, like, if you hit with that shit.
I like the mental health aspect of it too, and empower mental health and say, you know, that's great. You know, you can.
Yeah.
What it always got me is during like the women's month and all that, you know, they ran those photo shoots without the makeup, the power of our women. And that's not good enough for television. Now make sure you go get your cosmetics done. We're not actually putting you on television. That's good for a .com exclusive.
And look at the double standard, just society-wise, that we have to deal with. And now that's that too, the empowerment of women. How many of those guys have to wear makeup, get facial reconstructive surgery, all this shit? None of it. And that's true in society. Most of the women that in our lives, fake hair, fake nails.
I'll be honest, from a guy's standpoint, it actually has changed to a small degree for the better, because guys also were in a similar position, at least for wrestling, you know, 10 or 15 years ago, when you had to look like a fucking bodybuilder to go in the ring. When if you build your body like that, you end up getting fucking injured, because that's not how an athlete trains. Now we're getting people that are more true athletes in WWE. Granted, a lot of them don't know how to fucking work, but at least they're training in a smarter way to where they can uphold their bodies for weeks and months and years at a time, because they're more not trying to just put on muscle just to have muscle. They actually are trying to, you know, have conditioning and flexibility and mobility and endurance and things of that nature too, which for the longevity of those wrestlers is a great thing. But so that's great for the guys, but unfortunately for the women, they're kind of still stuck with, this is the standard that we want and need to have you be a certain size and look a certain way. And it's not cool. And it's terrible.
No, I agree with that. And Daniel Price has a good point in here about Vince having a bug up his ass because of Snoop doing the AEW stuff. That's why I thought Carmella was going to go over, not because it was good business. When I did the Pick'em challenge, I go, you watch, they'll put Sasha under just based off the fucking Snoop heat. And I'm surprised they didn't.
Yeah. Well, in part, also, I wonder if they were also thinking of potential, because I'm sure it would have happened to a small degree, but those things can also blow up of, internet backlash of, oh, are they punishing Sasha Banks? Because, she's not one that hasn't been shy of speaking her opinion on things. So, you know what I mean?
Tantrum backstage.
Yeah. So it's like one of those things of, and you should never do business for those reasons. Like if someone's a problem like that, you just don't fucking put the title on them.
Yeah, she was involved here with this meeting with Xavier and AJ. Maybe she went in there and played ball and got back on the good side herself. So they said,
we don't know what was said in that meeting. It will be interesting if we see, AJ, Sasha, and Xavier Woods all, get some really good runs over the next 3 or 4 months. Then I'm not going to say it is necessarily because of that, but it certainly does make you go, you know what I mean?
Well, it's been said here on the Monday Locker Room a number of times that they are not pushing Xavier Woods right now with his crossover appeal is absolutely ridiculous.
Retarded.
Guys, let's stick with the ladies here for a moment. We get tag team action. We have new champs. Asuka and her mystery partner to be revealed as the returning queen, Charlotte Flair, defeat Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. This thing goes just over 10 minutes. We've talked about Charlotte's return before. Obviously, the cosmetics there, but to me, this was what a return should be. She was trimmed. She looked fit. She was on the ball. She had a great energy about her. She brought her A game. Everything pretty much went pretty smooth for her inside of this. She worked for me here. The Asuka act again. They got to get rid of this crying, happy, hugging, dancing schoolgirl act. We got to get back to the buzzsaw with her. And what you kind of expected from Jackson and Baszler over here. A little bit back and forth. Both sides had their ups and downs. Ben, your thoughts here on our new champions, Asuka and Charlotte?
Finish was rotten. Absolutely bad with Baszler in there. Takes a little heat. Then Baszler spins 180 and feeds her legs up for Charlotte to put her in the fucking figure 4 gimmick, and fucking that they get out of. And then she beats her, I don't know, natural selection. Her other finish is a rolling snapmare. I do that move. I do it in transition. And if I'm doing it in transition, Charlotte Flair shouldn't be winning with it. Dude, rolling snapmare for the finish was brutally bad, but you have to keep it simple for these girls who are rotten. I don't know what Nia's wearing, bro. Jesus Christ. Look,
the Tarp Emporium's doing well then, huh?
Something out there, man. Hefty. But just really exposing the business bad of that she don't care about her body, that, to even look at Shayna, she looks kind of like fucking Frankenstein sometimes when they're on camera with the thing in her mouth. And I'm like, what dude tuning in is going to want to see these two women who aren't super strong heels and badasses? It's like they set up the one move to do the stomp arm break and they're proud of themselves. We did a heel thing together, you guys. We did it. And really, they're not living heel. They're not believable heels. Like, we're going to put her boobs on her back and make her back look like her front. Like, that's the fucking level of heel shit.
Or back boobs.
Dude, well, she's got them in spades.
How much should that pop Vince and Brucey? Because they played that nonstop for 2 weeks in a row. That made like 6 or 7 highlights.
I would play that too on the conference call in the stockholders meeting. And I would go, this is why there's a vote of no confidence and why you guys lost a $39 million lawsuit to $10,000 worth of investments to firefighters. Your time here is done. If this is the level that you're coming up with, your time here is done. Thank you very much for all the years of hard work and service.
Going back to Charlotte Flair, and you'll have to tell me what you all think if this is too hokey, but my brain goes to, where does she go as a character at this point? I thought it was good that she took some time off, and it was a good, for a moment of, I guess, nostalgia. Charlotte Flair's back. She wins. I guess a cool moment for the fans that remember, but I felt in no way she really reinvented herself. So I have to ask, how much steam does she have coming back just as traditional Charlotte Flair? I personally, if it were me, and this maybe is too over the top, I think it would have been great if she, tried to endear herself towards, having a style like Asuka and like doing her own version of that, and then being their own version of, Princess Warriors or whatever. You know what I mean? Like Charlotte Flair, or, you know, she tries to do the, you know, the Asuka thing, and they as a tag team could really, you know, draw some cool thing there. You know what I mean? And just really get her out of her comfort zone, out of her shell, like her doing her own version of like an Asuka, but a Charlotte Flair, Shashka, or I don't know, but you know what I mean? But something like that, you know, to really get her out of her shell and show that she has range as a performer and get that over. And I think the fans would really get behind it if she came out and they were dancing and fucking were killing bitches, you know what I mean? I think that could be some good stuff, but I feel like as just Charlotte Flair, I think she'll have, you know, I think she'll be able to have a nice little run, but in 6 months, where does she go as a performer? You know, where does that leave her?
That kind of, I love that. I think that would open her up to have fun and be the baby face, because she's going to be a face and we're going to make her a heel again eventually, like we do with Flairs. You have to be a strong baby face. So a singing and dancing thing could be a little good interacting with that, because she came down to the ring and we're expecting her to be Charlotte Flair, the queen of da-da-da-da and all that shit, right? But then she's hugging Asuka and like doing fun shit. I'm like, well, that goes against everything we fucking seen. So we're either not committing to the bit or we're not committing fully to where we need to go with her to get that over. So there's a little bit of, I guess, not hope, but like that spark of what could be that man beast, or it was just, we don't really care, go out and be a baby face and hug her like a house. It felt very house show bullshit.
When I saw him hugging like that, that was really when I cringed, and that's when it occurred to me, like, man, this thing with Asuka just absolutely is not working. This is one of the most heated feuds between these two. These guys got serious history, and now just on a whim, they're out there hugging, they're dancing around. Obviously, you know, Charlotte goes over in this thing. She's a Grand Slam champ, first time with these tag titles, adds to her resume. We're probably going to get the turn at some point, so to set up the feud between these. But Beast, as you had mentioned, kind of embracing the Kabuki Warrior kind of theme earlier in the night on the pre-show. Some of the best business done in just advancing her character. Billie Kay approached Asuka with the resume and the headshot. She actually had made her own little.
I like that.
I got you right here because you're in a perfect spot. I'm in the chat, and Society 858, who's a great participator here at Hamin Media Group, says Charlotte has won everything WWE has to offer. Well, you're seeing it from a fan's point of view, because to me and Beast and a lot of guys who are Rip Rogers guys, that goes, belts are for people who can't get over with character. So 100%. to me, if you've held every belt, that means you suck at character and you can't connect on a level in the storyline. So we have to protect you by putting gold on you, because the marks fucking bite on, oh, you're the champ, you're the best. 90% of the time when you're a babyface, a champion, it's because you suck and need to be led by competent heels who can get a performance out of you and protect you from yourself, be it Goldberg, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, like all of those babyface champions were pretty rotten, whether it's Superman punch fucking float out of the buckle or fucking Falcon's arrow, superplex kickouts. They don't get it. That's why it takes a competent heel to fucking protect them. So I know Strangler Steve on the Wednesday locker room has a whole other postulate of the belt is for the guy that is the marquee player. And yeah, I agree to that. But you're not going to look at Hogan matches and go, those were just fucking absolutely brilliant. That same match we watched for 15 years. But it worked for a reason. For a reason it worked, right? And the comeback and the Hulk up, because we built heels that had heat and he could just be protected as that champion. So just because the fact that Charlotte's won everything, I can name 2 Charlotte matches that I gave a shit about. So the rest of them are meaningless times just to shine her as a champion. That way she's already got the namesake. She don't need the belt. And even to meet a 16-time bar and all this kind of shit. Well, let's have them mean something instead of just putting title upon title upon title. Because when you do that, your title don't mean shit. The win doesn't mean shit. And we're just going through the motions when you're a 14-time champ. Well, guess what? That means you lost it 13 times. So you're not that good.
I think it really lends to what Beast is saying here. If you're Charlotte, you would embrace something like that to say, hey, you know what? I can get out there and show you character work. I have some range. I'm more than just a Flair, a spinoff of my dad.
You can still, wrestle just as good and technical. Just you add that little pizzazz and that little flair and that character to your work, and it shows that you're that much more. You have that much more range as a performer. And to me, especially for longevity, and I feel like the trend in wrestling, and it's not a bad thing, is to to get into mainstream and get into Hollywood and be able to do that. And she hasn't done herself any favors as far as trying to get those kind of opportunities.
All right, gentlemen, we talked about these guys in business going forward with the Hurt Business on this show, TLC. They captured tag team gold. They finally go over on the New Day. They've been going back and forth here for a few weeks. Haven't been able to get over on the champs. That they finally do here. We get about 10 minutes in this thing. Kind of surprised me. I thought they'd give these athletes a little bit more time on the show.
I just wanted to stop. Has Charlotte dated anybody openly aside Andrade?
She was married to Bram.
Yeah,
that NXT days, but nothing while she was.
Think of it
in the big spotlight.
If USA wants darker and more adult, then we're talking adult. Adult. I'm thinking adultery. How about Matt Hardy and Edge? You know what I mean? Some real shit like that, right? Like, so I'm thinking, who banged her out that we could fucking start some heat with Andrade, with what's going on? Because we've laid this out on Friday and Monday Locker Room. The list of couples they have, from Killer Cross to Triple H and stuff. We can go. There's 14 couples in WWE that should be in some type of reality show, Temptation Island, or adultery type situation where somebody gets caught with somebody's wife, and then we have a third party who bangs out the other guy's chick, and now we're in this weird hole now that has stakes, as opposed to Japanese. Like we need.
And then you have like a Matt Riddle in there, and he takes everyone.
Absolutely.
I actually was going through my photos just about 4 days ago, and I erased this thing. About a year ago, I made a promo poster for a WWE version of Temptation Island when they were running Temptation Islands after Raw on USA, and I had the couples there.
What sells?
Scandal. Sex and scandal.
Sex. And dude, we're not doing any of that. And we've got all these hot chicks. You imagine if, somebody did hook up with Killer Cross's chick, like how psycho he would really be, bro. Like, like there's a lot there, even hinting at it, and you got Garza, who could be the dude who's just trying to bang out girls who are married or with somebody. You know what I mean? Well,
they're inside of himself. Have Garza go after Charlotte.
Yeah. See, I almost say you recreate the Prince of Poon character with Matt Riddle, and he's just like, I don't know, they just like me, bro.
I just can't get enough of these, bro. I'm down with that. But like, if we're gonna talk about adult and things that are like, oh my god, controversy, and these women who aren't WWE fans love these soap operas, and this is the type of shit that it does, we need to do it in a real way, even if maybe Charlotte needs to bang two of them, or decide to make it a real fucking thing and take one for the team business wise. I don't know.
I'd like to see a spinoff, if we're talking about the sex and the scandal, is to have somebody come out on NXT, maybe like Cameron Grimes, come out and say that he's actually the father of Brandy's baby.
Why not? Why we get
that promotion shot.
We could have that. We could have it as the father of if we don't want to, Becky's kid. The father.
Just go cross promotion and be like, no, Cody didn't do that. I actually banged his wife.
It didn't
NXT.
But yeah, man, that's that. I just had to get that out there. Sorry, go ahead.
Hey, we got controversy everywhere. We already talked about, in depth about the Hurt Business, about what they could do to pick up business there, about how there's money behind them. They're teasing a little bit here that there might be with Cedric Alexander. He's bringing out the pit bull as MVP has said that he's hungry now, but that he might be getting a little too cocky. Hopefully, they're not teasing any kind of rift between this group here. I think they gotta stay true, keep riding these guys for the value that's inside the group in numbers. In the match there, Beast, what'd you think of the tag match?
Oh, it was fine. I don't necessarily remember a lot about it. I remember it was, a decent enough match, but I thought ultimately the business of the match, and that was getting the Hurt Business over and getting them, heat with, getting the titles. I thought that was the right call. And so ultimately I like where they're going with this. I think they're actually building something. So it also scares me too, because it's like whenever I feel like they finally get momentum behind something, then at some point they're just like, all right, and derail it and destroy all the momentum. So hopefully they continue to ride this momentum, really establish them as a powerful group that people are going to remember for generations to come. And they can do that with the Hurt Business if they continue down this path, but it needs to be consistent and they need to put the time in, which again, a lot of times they have a tendency to be a little gun shy if it doesn't quite get to the level they want it to quick enough. But I think there's money in the Hurt Business, and I like that they seem to be heading the right direction as far as that goes.
I think it's interesting you say that just nothing really in the match stood out for you. They only get 10 minutes here. They get like double this on television every week. And then when we get the payoff with the title switch on a big event, they get the time.
So I guess that's the takeaway, because I don't necessarily watch all the time, so I didn't have that to compare it to. But yeah, I mean, I guess to that sense, it didn't necessarily feel like a grandiose match. But sometimes that's okay, because again, the business is to get them over. If they win more quickly, then they in theory are more dominant. It wasn't as difficult a competition, and not to say that New Day are pushovers, because they still were able to go 10 minutes. But I don't think because WWE has a habit sometimes, at least especially on NXT, where they'll have these long drawn out matches just because it needs to be a special moment. It doesn't always have to be, you know what I mean? That's why you set up a rubber match. If they come back at Royal Rumble or they can build a big story through WrestleMania, that's when they can have the big long drawn out match, and it means more. But if they were to go and have a long drawn out banger now, then it doesn't mean as much. But to your point, if they're already doing that on television, then they've already jumped the gun, and that was stupid to begin with. But I think in good booking, you would start off the first time they meet each other, wouldn't necessarily have a long drawn out contest. You'd have some sort of reason to come back to it, to revisit the story and revisit the match, and then have an even more elaborate and bigger match.
Absolutely. Ben?
Yeah, they're stupid. Should have put the belts on Hurt Biz back in SummerSlam, run them the whole way here, as we have New Day with G4 and with a video game to sell. This would have been time to put New Day over, taking the belts off the heels after a 3-month build. But here we are with more black on black violence, which is completely tone deaf. And Big E's even caught heat for saying that. So they know it. They know what's with it. And these guys are going along to get along, unfortunately, when they have all of the NAACP cards to play on Vince to back them in a corner to stay on top for a long time. And also, it's Christmas on Friday. I'm not sure if you guys knew that or not, but you don't want to go home with heels up. You don't want to go home with a guy getting lit on fire with the heels up. Like, there's just things that don't make sense whatsoever.
Well, before we get to lighting somebody on fire, let's talk about the second tables, ladders, and chairs match. See, Roman Reigns, he is successful in defending the WWE Universal Champion as he defeats Kevin Owens. Going into this thing, this is really about Reigns' dominance. Really, at no point did Kevin Owens give you any indication that he had a chance in this thing. It was beatdown after beatdown. Kind of seems like that's kind of the story they're telling with Owens here is that's really the story in the match, is just him trying to overcome that never give up kind of fight Owens fight mentality. I did like how he came out and jumped the gun, skipped his entrance. He attacks Roman Reigns early, especially as we've seen in the build to this thing where it's just Kevin Owens getting beat down after beat down after beat down. Through the match, I guess some decent spots inside of a TLC match. I did like the end there. Roman Reigns with the Superman punch through the ladder to the family jewels. Thought that was very fitting as this thing's been built around family.
We got Reigns in there, who's the heel, and Owens jump starts him. Why is the champ out first? Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Then the fucking babyface does the jump start and gets fucking heel heat all the way through and starts working heat on the boss.
Is there anything to speak of? Because he didn't get any upper hand at all in this build. I mean, it was him getting his ass beat every week.
It should have been that whole way. Like that there is no retribution. It doesn't. And this is what kills me, because Buck knows better, Pierce knows better, Abyss knows better. Like, you can go right down the line.
Yeah, can you imagine Kevin Owens? I mean, imagine, you have similar I guess, story in a sense, but you have Kevin Owens come out first, then you have Roman Reigns' music hit. Paul Heyman walks out holding the belt. It's like, what the fuck? And then that's when Roman Reigns comes in with the jump, and then you do the match from there and maybe shave off about 10 minutes. Cause I think this is another example of them trying to make this long drawn out classic, and make it feel more important. But the business ends up getting marginalized. It's kind of watered down because it's like, okay, if it takes, that long to really put someone away after a jump start and beating their ass, then how good is the champion then?
It goes about 25 minutes.
Right. Yeah. With weapons, it took him 25 minutes to beat a guy that he jump started. You know what I mean? How does Roman Reigns have more heat after that match?
Doesn't. And it's all on the agent's shoulders. And then at the end of the day, it's on Owens and Reigns too, because they're not going, hold on, guys, I'm the heel. Why is he fucking getting heat out of the gate?
And let's face it,
he didn't sell the beat down from Friday where his leg was all fucked up. So like, we're just
imagine instead of having a 25-minute gimmick, he jumped him. He did a fucking big spot with a big table or whatever big spot you want to. And then he just pinned him 1, 2, 3 in less than a minute. Like, holy fuck. That would have been, people are like, holy shit. I didn't expect that.
Or he comes out with a big Austin knee brace on. Kevin Owens is going to fight. Kevin Owens is going to fight. You guys would thought the match was called off or whatever. He could have been talking shit the whole night. Down he comes. To heat on the fucking leg again.
Or you have Jey Uso come in behind him, do the fucking Nancy Kerrigan
clip.
Right.
With the hype, this fucking.
I think what Ben's saying there is perfect. This is a story that they should have told throughout the evening, because what they told through the match was this ultimate underdog, Kevin. The fight Owens fight, never give up. If you're telling the story throughout the evening, we don't even know if we're going to get this marquee match because we're trying to get Owens cleared. He's injured, and then you have him out there with the huge knee brace. There's nothing going to stop him from going, even with the bionic knee brace on. He's still going to climb that ladder. He's going to shock the world.
And not even in a way foreshadow it, or this might be too much, you tell me, Ben, and say, Kevin Owens is going to fight tonight, and whoever's running the pay-per-view, I want you to know we're going to run long because I will not give up. I will not quit. You know what I mean? Imply like he's going to have a long drawn out beatdown match. And then that's when you do the fucking quick gimmick. And it's like, oh shit, he really fucked him up.
Thing of like, and that's it. Your chief tribal chief by default, the winner. Wait, what's that? Kevin Owens is going to fight? Daniel LaRusso is going to fight? Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel LaRusso is going to fight. And out he fucking comes, Kevin Owens hobbling, and get the heat on him and have him lose. Don't have him go over Karate Kid wise. He's over because he showed that he got fucking beat down on Friday.
He's a tough son of a bitch.
Arrogant on here. He's still going to make the match. And even though he loses, he ain't fucking giving up. And that's heel heat for fucking Tribal Chief.
Tribal Chief.
And here's the thing, and in less time and working more smartly, you've elevated both superstars more. Roman Reigns has more heat, and people now emotionally, I talk about emotional investment all the time, and I don't really give an example, but that's a perfect example of now you've built emotional investment in Kevin Owens because people can get behind someone. They either themselves, might identify with that, or they have a family member or a friend that's like, they know that tough son of a bitch that just won't give up. And that's Kevin Owens. And they emotionally can connect with that and understand that story. And again, both of them as performers and as personal brands are elevated.
And Kevin Owens looks like most of the people at home watching.
I got to stop you right here and come right back in. You do that. You have fucking Tribal Chief go over. Owens has got the fighting spirit. You move on to the next one because he lost, and fucking it's more of the same. But when that next babyface who's got to fight from underneath and overcome all of these fucking hitman shots, when it's time for fucking him to go over on Reigns, that's when Owens comes in and neutralizes the Uso brother who would do the fucking hit to help the baby go over on the fucking heel. Then they got to come back with Jimmy or whatever, Uso and fucking Tribal Chief to face those two cocksuckers to get back over. Then Owens and them can fucking have a baby match where the heels fuck it over again, or a triple threat and the heels up. And then Owens can come back and try and win again. But they don't even know. They're doing ladder matches, but they don't even know how to go up the rungs of a fucking card to build a guy the right way, dude. Like, people say wins and losses matter. Absolutely. Losses matter more because they drive a character's id. Once you've won, you've paid something off. Now you just have to defend it. The fucking journey is trust more
Getting robotic, Ben.
You're breaking up bad. Breaking up bad. He's going bad. Bad. Hold on. You might have to jump out and jump back in, Ben.
Check 1, 2. Yalla, yalla.
Yalla. Better.
Top of the show. They already got word. They're already here to shut you down.
Yeah, man. And at the end of the day, it's about Owens being underneath and a baby face after him. And then Owens being that FU catalyst to the heels who then they get their heel retribution as baby faces, not in heat, but in effing over circumstances that we've seen before from the bad guys running their play. This is the fucking outside chaos factor that fucks over their master plan, that fucks them over. And then the bad guys got to get really nasty after that for revenge. So we don't even know how to build a die hard level, of raising the stakes as we go along. We just pay.
Imagine the opening scene of Star Wars. The bay door opens, it gets blasted out. All the rebel soldiers get killed by the stormtroopers. Darth Vader walks in, and then Luke Skywalker comes up behind him and kills him with the lightsaber. And then
that's how it's wrote, brother.
Imagine that. Wouldn't that be a better movie?
Fucking so good.
You know what I mean? It's literally that simple. That's the frustrating part. I think that's why we get so impassioned. It's like the solutions, they almost try to overcomplicate things, and it makes it way worse versus the solutions are simple. It's character-driven stories and emotional investment. That's it.
Well, gentlemen, let's get to the hot spot, the true heat of the evening, the main event, the Firefly Inferno match.
My favorite part of Lord of the Rings is when he got the ring and then he just went over and chucked it in the pond and the movie was over. That was my fucking favorite part. It's like, it's returned.
Case closed.
Would have saved everybody, about 3-4 hours? So.
About 10.
I would say, once you get through the run of the movies. I've never seen one moment of the Lord of the Rings. So,
oh man, I've got a leg up on you, RBV. That's a series I actually have seen.
So we have the Firefly Inferno match. Randy Orton defeats the Fiend. Of course, this is a Inferno match to go over. You've got to light your opponent on fire. So it's really just kind of a tussle, a struggle back and forth. I will say, I thought the visuals on this thing, how they had the Thunderdome decked out, it looked pretty impressive with the flamethrowers and all that. That was pretty cool. I mean, that gives you that true underground, that fight island that we had talked about for so long. What they would have, how they could have presented that thing. The Fiend gets lit on fire here early on, but he pretty much no-sells it. He's still going on the attack, going after Randy. We don't get a bell. We don't get any kind of announcement. Randy hits an RKO, which single RKO now has knocked the Fiend completely unconscious. That bastard Randy Orton, the Viper, goes and gets a can of gasoline and drenches the Fiend, completely lights him on fire. Get a lot of mixed reactions and emotions from the internet wrestling community over this one. Hey, the network wanted edgier, risque TV. Does this deliver, Beast? What'd you think of this? Like, really, the close is
believe it or not. I'm not mad that he set him on fire. I think it was okay for him to set him on fire. The problem I have is they did it inside the confines of a wrestling ring. To me, when they established this was going to be a Firefly Funhouse Inferno match, I took me back. Okay, we're going to see similar to what we saw at the Firefly Funhouse of WrestleMania with John Cena and kind of that world of the Fiend. And I think having Randy Orton finally find a way to beat the Fiend at his own game would have been a good come around from that story. And then you set him on fire there, and then it's in the context of the Fiend's world. So it doesn't suspend that disbelief of, oh, he really set a guy on fire. You know what I mean? Like in the sense of the Fiend's world, he got on fire. Kind of like how Impact has their own, little side business with James Mitchell and all that, but you know what I mean? Like it kind of lets as a viewer, okay, this is a different reality that we're watching, and the rules don't necessarily apply. Versus doing it in the middle of the wrestling ring, you're supposed to make people believe that we actually murdered someone and that he's going to come back. Like, to me, that's the ridiculous part of it. I would have been fine if they would have done it in the confines of the Firefly Funhouse in a cinematic match, but not in the manner in which they did it, because then it kind of makes you're insulting the audience's intelligence, and you never want to do that, because you want to play to the height of the audience's intelligence, because as soon as you insult their intelligence, you're asking them, oh, fuck this, I'm not buying it. And then people are going to be dismissive and want to turn it off, which is a shame, because these two can be really great storytellers. And I think if they would have done it in a cinematic way, it could have been told much better, and it would have done much better business in the long run.
Beast, does Randy Orton get arrested for manslaughter tonight to kick off Monday Night Raw?
I mean, I guess I don't know, because that very night Bray Wyatt already tweeted on Twitter that he said thank you. So
thank you. Had the cocoon. I guess,
and again, more reason why that also would have worked if they did it in the cinematic way and not like, dude.
Do you think he's just marking for him, or is he like putting heat on him right there?
I think he's just cheesing. I think he was just a rib.
Is it though? Like, as you're posting that, all I can see is fucking Ziggler and his brother on the fucking phone, and then it comes out. That tweet comes out after they just set him on fire, and Ziggler is like, "Are you fucking kidding me with these guys, Rye?" And Ryan's like, "Dude," and just fucking hits it, sends it.
And again, I think if it was done in a cinematic way and showed like this is going to be a metamorphosis for the character, which I'm okay with Bray every couple years, kind of if he can figure out a creative way to evolve his character, then I think that's good. But you don't do it in the context of, hey, this is real life, he really set him on fire. It's like, okay, well, I'm not fucking stupid.
I love how you put it there. Yeah. If you're going to do that, keep it outside of the ring.
Yes,
I think that's a key point. Ben,
well, he already burned down his she shed one time. There's no place left to take him.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, they're out of places.
Yep.
No, I would have done it similar to the John Cena match. You showed the context of Randy Orton's career, do the RKO news or whatever, and showed him at the desk. And, that's, again, a great vehicle for him to go through. These characters have these matches and make them really interesting and intriguing for the viewer. And again, it's character-driven story. I think that could have been really a great piece of work if they would have done it that way, but instead they chose to go the way they went with it.
I guess of note, they did film. It was a pre-record. They shot this thing about 3:00 in the afternoon before actually going on air for the pay-per-view.
Oh, wow.
$30,000 fine for the tweet.
Unless they told him to.
Get set on fire in an epic movie and die, and then fucking tweet about it during the credits and fucking the characters back, like, just these are the things. These are the absolute amateur moves that undercut all this stuff and leave me no like feeling of like, oh, anymore for them. They get no clearance here, bro.
I think, since we've seen the debut really of Bray Wyatt, before the Fiend and the Funhouse and all that, what was everybody clamoring for? This could be the next Undertaker. Now, the Undertaker was, in those 30 years was a part of a lot of hoping.
Does that mean Bray Wyatt's going to be doing cameos to fucking all Elite?
Not to talk about what the Undertaker's doing now, look on those good 30 years. But Undertaker was part of a lot of hokey, storylines and creative and all that. But what made us buy into it was because the man, Mark Calloway, believed it so much, that he believed in the business, that he was going to get the persona over. Any failures here with the Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, the Funhouse, and all that, I don't even want to point to, a network request, bad creative, Vince McMahon. Ultimately, doesn't this fall on Bray Wyatt? I mean, it's not even.
You think if we had Twitter then during the Undertaker coffin match, when Kane puts him in there and closes the top, he'd be like, "Boy, it's dark in here." Like, that's tantamount to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And like I said before, when this generation does things like that or sees bad moves, and the under guys see that that's the okay way to do things, it must be how WWE wants things done. So I'm going to do things that way too. And I'm going to blow off all of my kayfabe and all of my business on Twitter to get myself over, even though we've been building this angle for 5 months straight. They think that's the right thing to do. It absolutely is the wrong thing to do, and will end your creative, piss off the bosses, and fucking bastardize your view in front of the audience. So if that's what you want to keep doing and scratching your head, why isn't this getting over how it should? Is it because you're posing on NFL sidelines holding a child? Is it because you're taking selfies with the Fox executives in the fucking control room as the Fiend? Is it because of these things? It absolutely is. Are you brilliant and can get things over? Sure. It's those 3, 4, 5, 6 times where you just go, fuck it. It's only wrestling. I'm going to get something out for my own self-interest. Kills it all. Kills all credibility instantly. And I don't weep any tears for it.
It's the extension is B said in the monologue. I mean, Bliss talking about a vacation. Sell this thing.
Done.
So,
how about that alone? I was going to go back to that. Do you think in the history of 80s and 90s wrestling, someone who's been built into an angle and gotten over is going to go, well, I had vacation scheduled in 2 weeks ago. I put in for that 6 months ago. No, you're going to know where you are in the storyline and that you facilitate this payoff, and you better damn sure make sure your ass is there to fucking help tell the story that you've been a part of this whole time, instead of I went and shot Punky Brewster and now I'm doing selfies while I'm at the fucking Magic Kingdom with my fiance. Fuck that storyline. Nope. Done. You're done here. That is generation useless 101. And I don't care how hot you are, how tight your ass and little titties are. If you're not there to support the story that you're a supporting character in, we got no use for you. Yeah, good luck to you. Good luck to you in Playboy. Good luck to you at OnlyFans. But for what we're trying to do, you're obviously not in line with that. And it's really not the most important thing to you. So have a good day. We'll find somebody else who's cute and has titties.
Yeah. It's in show don't tell too. It's like pretty much he went on Twitter, Bray Wyatt did, and said, "Hey guys, I'm going to evolve." And it's like, you jumped the shark there a bit. But tell me if this would have been this probably is too ridiculous, but I'm going to say it anyway because it came to mind. It's like I like the illusion or the picture of a cocoon. Like, what if you did something strange where, say, over the course of a few weeks, like say even it could be Randy Orton notices up in the top of the building there's a cocoon that's starting to grow, and they allude to it throughout the weeks and months of what is this, until finally you have the new evolved version of Bray Wyatt, whatever that's going to be, emerge from said cocoon and attack.
What is it?
I know it's pretty ridiculous as I say it, but at the same time I'm like
That's Wyatt, the guy who got over with the original Cape Fear could still be at.
And apparently you love it so much you're breaking up.
Sorry.
Well, I think what you're saying there, Beast, is there's no reason to rush it. There's absolutely no.
Oh yeah, that was really more the point of If you're gonna do something.
If you want to create social media buzz, they should have just shut down and deactivated all of his accounts immediately.
Absolutely. Or the fact that you're doing a murder angle and the guy's tweeting 12 hours later. We're dead in the water. We're dead in the water. The Cape Fear angle could still be running. The fact that we're doing a cocoon, which means a rebirth of Bray Wyatt, still. Oh my God.
Sorry.
I think what Ben's saying there is how many times are we going to reboot? Towards.
How many times is Ben Hamin going to have to reboot?
Right.
How many fucking times? Fuck this show, fuck this pay-per-view, and fuck every creative decision they made.
I was going to say that's got all I got. We got through the headlines. We worked it through the conversation. Gentlemen, great show, I think, today. But Ben, we're running a little long. Why don't you get us the hell out of here?
Yeah, man. It's all going down. Hack attack, whether...
I have one more bad idea. I'm going to build off the cocoon idea. You turn it into like the fucking pod people, and wrestlers start disappearing, but these pods start appearing, and then they all come out. And they've all transformed. Ha 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 ha! All right, that's it.
Maybe it's like Cocoon the movie, where Vince and all his cronies are trying to reverse their aging by going into the cocoons.
They're like, we gotta destroy kayfabe.
It's brutal, and that was a bad idea. You were right. So it probably means they're going to do it. So
yeah, there you go. Merry Christmas.
We'll be here all week. I know Mathers and MacGyver got like a 4-hour Christmas special for Smack Attack. A lot of appearances there. You guys will be here keeping it live with Impact and All Elite Wrestling this week, as well as the NXT review, so you don't got to go anywhere. Hopefully have a guest this week for Horseman. I'm not sure what's going down, but I'll be on Russo Brand tomorrow, and we'll be on the front page of Twitch again this week as well. So appreciate you guys keeping us subscribed. Everybody putting it out there. We've seen more and more people signing up on YouTube at Hamin Media Group, on the Podbeans as well. So thank you to all the new subscribers if you're finding us, and hopefully Kaz doesn't cut too many hot takes today, because I'll talk to people about getting a coaching job at NXT. So that's pretty much shot in the ass after this fucking show. But
not anymore.
Yeah, man. ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben Hamin. Get real loud and rowdy with Broster's Coffee, and get your back in line with ProWrestlingTees.com/Dr. Manbeast. Is that what it's under?
Yep. DR Beast.
DRB, guys. We appreciate all those PWT sales, man, during the holidays. I saw Old Adler's just got his Culture Vulture shirt as well. So a lot of people rocking that. And RBV's out looking for another greasy burger today, Infidels. So if you're in the greater Ohio area and you want to celebrate the Browns' big victory over the Giants, which everybody beats the Giants. But I'll try and keep my blood pressure lower today, do a little bit of cardio, do some squats myself like I'm a fat old woman. And hopefully you guys are keeping a lock here at Hamin Media Group and everything we got going on. Check out that new Rip Rogers podcast on Patreon, hot show as well with Dr. Ted. So I appreciate my co-hosts and all my producers, all my propagandists, all the Twitter bomb squatters, and everybody who tags me in a stupid Twitter thread to try and get their jokes in can go fuck themselves. Anything else, RBV, that I missed where we burn this one down?
We got a few things, just a couple notes from my end here. For everybody of the Hamin Army, to keep your ears and eyes open. Right around the start of Raw tonight, we're going to be launching our 2020 Hamin Media Group awards, best of.
Yeah,
we're going to be focusing on the pros, the production, the personality. We're going to have about right around a dozen or so categories. We're going to have a nice, easy destination. So we'll be sharing that link and spreading the word across all of our social media. Tomorrow, Jargo and I on the Hitting the Marks podcast, which is a part of our affiliate group here at HaminMediaGroup.podbean.com. We're going to have Ring of Honor star Shane Taylor on with us. We're not going to be talking wrestling. We're going to be talking about race relations, things that are going on in society, kind of getting his perspective. And it's going to be our big Festivus show for the week too. So we're going to have the airing of grievances, all sorts of cool stuff going on. And hey, personally, just want to share with everybody out there that has been so kind to me over the last couple of months with things going on with my family, knowing the struggles with my grandparents and COVID. My stepmother has been battling COPD for the longest time, where she's on a constant stream of oxygen. We just got word here from the Cleveland Clinic that she has been approved for the lung transplant list. So that is good news. So hopefully a new sense and renewal on life will be heading her way.
Absolutely.
I hope so, dude. You guys have been through a lot this year. And, as always, family's most important.
We're waiting for them to name a wing at one of these hospitals after the victories. With as many times as we've been there, as much money we're forking over.
Well, Vince McMahon wants to buy a hospital wing, so get a hold of him.
Medical facility.
Yes.
But we're thinking about you, and if anybody's going through any health issues right now, we appreciate you listening to us, and we wish for the best for you to kick out. Stevie Richards Fitness, if you can do it, is a great way to keep your immune system up and not have to go out to the gym. That's the petri dish of possible sickness, and do all that. So we're getting healthy at home, you guys, and everyone's working really hard. Big Ray looking incredible, posting his update pics this week. So there's no reason to not join the fold of positivity. Unfortunately, I wasn't too positive in the beginning of the show. I might need a little Silvio in my life, but that's not because of my doing. That's because of their doing. So Allah, it's Dr. Tized. Anything else, buddy? I put up the $30 liquor tier on Patreon, so hopefully somebody subscribes.
Definitely check it out. And even if you don't participate in that or can't afford it or whatever, that's all good, because you can come out into the Hamin Media Discord, and we talk schmoozing and boozing. It's been a lot of fun. I actually didn't even realize that I guess either Colin or MSG had created a subsection for that. So I actually literally just discovered about a week ago, but I'll be popping in much more often, just talking about the different beers and bourbons and different things that I partake in, from time to time. And so it's fun. There's a lot of cool discussion there, talking about different local varieties of like I said, different beers. We're talking about different bourbons. And so it's just a lot of cool conversation. If you're into that stuff, definitely join the Discord, join the schmoozing and boozing conversation. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed for some clear skies tonight. I don't know if y'all talked about it earlier, but tonight's going to be supposedly that big celestial event with Jupiter and Saturn aligning in the sky. So hoping I can get a glimpse of that. I've always been a nerd for any outer space kind of stuff. So hopefully we'll have some clear skies so we can check that out tonight. Either way, I'm sure there'll be pictures all over tomorrow. So be cool to see this moment in time that won't happen for another couple thousand years, I don't think, or something like, or at least a few hundred years.
1623 was the last time.
Okay, so it'll be another like 400 something years. So
yeah,
still kind of cool.
That was the year Stevie Richards graduated high school, so it'd be nice.
Oh wow!
Look back and see it again.
But and when it comes back around, he'll be probably at that point ready to retire.
Probably be close to having him up. But it's the wrestling education. We're going to take down some holiday libations, infidels, and it's all about the verbal masturbation here on your Monday Locker Room. Fire Marshal RBV, our son. So you better stop, drop, and keep it rolling. Yalla.